Apparently I read bedtime stories to people over the internet. What a strange trip life can sometimes be. But first I'll finish this conversation with the nice lady. Mayor. I heard you, but he's not welcome here. Her voice is harsh. And I don't know where he went. We haven't burned him or fought his awoken shell, wherever he is. A long pause. It's not our problem. Okay, so this person in this city doesn't like Asterion, I see. If you have to know, he failed and won't get a second chance. He was meant to escort Aegidia, a daughter of mine, to her betrothed in Gale Rocks. She was a great archeress, and the road from here to the coast is not that dangerous. When they saw goblins on the road, Asterion ordered her to push through, right into their trap. She touches a deer-shaped buckle. They got jumped like a bunch of wealthy pilgrims. A Roadwarden worth their gruel should know better. He can fight with a blade, but my girl, she never had a chance. She sighs and looks at the gate. He disappeared soon after his pitiful attempt at apologizing to me, and we closed our doors behind him. For good. I'll let you know if he ever tries to return. I wonder do you think Asterion absconded? Do you think he eloped with this daughter? Or if this was truly a failure of his, I wonder. I don't think I want to ask her if you ever found your daughter, because that's like she died, right? What if I tell her that I'm tracking him down for other crimes committed, kind of? She adjusts her cape with an annoyed shrug. Try asking for him in the north. He spent most of his time between white marshes, Gale Rocks, and creeks. Here he wasn't that eager to share his plans. I wonder, back in Havlavan, did you spend any time in Backwood Corner? It used to be this dark, dirty alley with muggers working even in daylight. I stayed there with Octavia the miller in exchange for doing chores for her. She had this small wooden hut. I'll say that it's still around, right? I established the town is doing better. I did. Let's say it's a respectable street. I'm just Mr. fucking friendly happy, I guess, over here. The apple and the boar. You describe how a family of southerners started a large shipyard right next to the alley, working on exotic boats in unusual shapes. Needing hands to work, they offered food and coin to many local thugs, and with time, more light and stalls showed up in the alley. As you describe the new inn, Theas bursts into cheerful laughter. So it's the same family that ran the Boarhead Inn. And to think that I dared to doubt the old lady's endurance. People like her, brave enough to bear the toil of their world, are going to bring salvation to all of us. True. Have you heard of the necromancers? She taps her fingers on the table. Yes, I have. After you ask her to tell you more, she seems to regain her confidence. You mean White Marshes, for sure. I don't know all that much about what's happening there. We avoid their lands if we can. She frowns. I shouldn't gossip about it with strangers. We can talk about it on another occasion. What do you think about the scavenger that was here before? Oh yeah, that guy. Oh, he's still alive, she says with distaste. He brought us some news from the north and paid off his debt to us, but he's an idler and a prattler. Drinks too. Farther away he stays from here, the better. Oh shit. I accepted a quest to bring him back. Well, she's not gonna like that. I was in Pel to the north. The innkeeper feels uneasy about Glaucius' band. When you mentioned the raids on the northern villages, her eyes narrow. Are you sure? It's the first I've heard about it. Glaucia has been around since years back, but she's not much of a nuisance. I'm just a messenger. He's asking for you to join forces with him. Well, I can't give you my answer. I won't ask our hunters to endanger their lives in the pursuit of some gossip. I could ask around and learn more about this. She sighs with exaggerated relief. What a splendid idea. There are only 3 villages in the north, White Marshes, farther north by the western road, Gale Rocks, by the northern coast, and creeks in the far east. Bring me news from those places, and you will get my answer. I can do that. Tell me, how do people dress in the city these days? Is it similar to what we have here? Before the war, the merchants were wearing these really long dresses and robes, way too long for my taste. They got mud stains after every rain, and I see no reason to keep shoes completely hidden. Not anymore. There's always a shortage of fabric. Most people wear tunics, like in the old days. At least we can hope. That if the visitors arrive, we won't stand out much, she laughs, but also adjusts her dress, drawing your attention to its superb quality. And who knows, maybe our little village here is going to help those unfortunate clothiers. Sure, we could spare a couple of sheets of fabric. You took the quest to take the dude to the inn? Oh, I'm supposed to take him to the inn instead. I couldn't remember where I was supposed to take him. But in that case, it makes more sense. I saw a weird tree south of here, the one with the altar. She straightens up and raises her chin. You mean Beholder, the guardian spirit of our wetlands? Well, I guess I do. Every fall, we bring it our gifts, and in return it provides us with its blessed fruit. The flesh of the forest. She stares into your eyes. It's older than the oldest books and the oldest thoughts. The druids help us honor it. Honor its sleep and show us how to ask for its help. Neither of these rituals, she scoffs, would be of use for you. Okay. What about the ruined village to the south? Her tense gaze shifts into an awkward click of her tongue as she leans away from you. I don't even want to think about their tragic fate. No one can negotiate with the wrath of the herds. A long pause. And I better not find you upsetting my neighbors with these sad questions. It was a challenging time for all of us, a wound we won't forget. What about Howler's Den? It is what it seems like, the greatest village in the far north. She raises her hand and makes an inviting gesture. Though I hope to still improve this and that, she winks at you, but is suddenly interrupted by the pained cry of a little boy who hurt his knee during a fall. As an amused elder tries to calm him down, the mayor shrugs it off and titters, then meets your eyes again. Life's good here. We have what we need and a lot of what we want, building on top of more than 12 generations of hard work and bravery. She spends a few good minutes telling you about mouflons, wheat, rye, hemp, cheese, and wool, proud of every glimpse of prosperity. Whenever she mentions an artisan, shepherd, or farmer, she doesn't miss a chance to mention how significantly she improved their conditions. She also omits some topics. You hear of no tales, songs, ancestors, rituals, or days of prayer. It's like listening to a tax collector. Only at the very end of her speech does she mention the wisdom of the elders, now kept in the teaching of the druids, who help her guide those who trust her. They heal our wounds in our gardens, she explains, but then changes the topic to all the fruit trees, hares, and nuts in the woods. She sounds like politician businesswoman. I like her already. We talk and talk, but I still don't know where you are from, HeyWoah. What's your story? Have you lived in Havlavan your entire life? Oh, well, I'm from the internet. Only for a bit. I was raised in a small village just nearby and moved to the city after I decided to look for luck as a Roadwarden. Yeah, I think I'll want to be a hero. To see the city for the first time after being surrounded by a couple of small houses and fields. It's a strange feeling, isn't it? She puts her hand on the table. Even after my second winter there, I felt like a stranger. But those who know how to live in the countryside, close to the wilderness, we will always find a new home for ourselves, don't you think? She gives you an encouraging smile. What's your secret to being so successful? This is kind of a goofy question to ask her, but I guess I will because I just want to read more. She reaches for her buckle and her voice grows cold. There's no secret, traveler. There's hard work, risks, and sacrifices, and the support of those that care about me. The good things that happen to me shine on my people just as much. Think about it before you mention it again. She adjusts her cape. Oh, well, I pissed her off, but her words are true. Oh, I can consider it right now. While she laughs, her eyes remain keen. But if you want me to give you some answers, let's see. She looks up and to the right, theatrically raising her hand to her chin. Some gestures of goodwill would be a great start, since you're the guild's messenger. I need to know you can be relied upon. She gives you a wide, white grin. Of course. Do you even have the power to handle tax negotiations? She scoffs loudly at your head shake. Do enough for my village, and I'll hand you a beautiful signed letter. A list of all the things my neighbors are looking for, as well as what they can give in return. Your superiors are going to see more than enough to prepare their offer. She rubs her hands. I think that's fair. Yeah, it sounds good, actually. Perfect. One more thing, though. She puts her elbows on the table, leaning closer to you. If you go behind my back, I'm not going to wait for a dagger. I'll end yours first. She rests her chin against her open palms, giving you a disarmingly warm smile. I'm sure people already know that we have a new Roadwarden. Maybe ask around to see if anyone needs your help. The more my neighbors trust you and need you, the more willing they'll be to offer you better pay. True. Make yourself useful. Alright, what can I do for you? Oh, so kind of you to ask, but before I ask you to run, let's see how you can walk, shall we? Her eyes wander left and right, and she gestures for a nearby guard to move away. He nods, then gestures at a few other souls to follow him. While a few of the locals cast curious looks at you, they turn away as quickly as you notice them. The mayor's shiny green eyes are still locked on you, and her voice is close to a whisper. Since Asterion's disappearance, there's little trade on the roads, and not much news reaches us. Be so kind. Her flirtatious tone distracts you with how obviously fake it is, and help me learn some interesting tales about our neighbors. Don't worry, obviously fake is my thing. I'm in. But do you have enough points in diplomacy and real-world knowledge of trade agreements and settlements to make this worth it? No. But you know that you don't, and she knows that you don't. And so for her, it's a good thing. Because she's dealing with some rube, essentially. Like some new guy who seems like one of those lost puppy types who just really wants to help everyone. And she's like, oh great, she's probably used to dealing with backhanded, double agents and miserly kind of trying to get stuff for themselves kind of people. And, finally she's dealing with somebody honest. So she can exploit them. But not in a bad way, in like a politician way who's trying to get a lot of money fed into their district, right? Because they're actually helping things around the city and where they live. If everybody does that, everybody wins. I'm gonna smile back at her. You mean the ones that weren't meant to reach you? See, I knew that deep down you're a true sage. She titters and straightens up, adjusting her cape without haste. Do you have something to share? Am I just like her spy now? Have I been recruited to be her spy, I wonder? I think so. I like the cut of her jib. I like this mayor. She's got a good head on her shoulders, takes charge, knows what's what, looking out for her community. Not afraid to do what needs to be done. I like it. Sorry, so is this your spy master mommy now? Well, when you say it like that. Yes. More importantly, have we found our first waifu of the game? Well. Do remember the original tomboy soldier girlfriend, who is bald and strong. She was in the original camp. There's like some sort of innkeeper lady in the first city. I can't remember too much about her. And then now, spy master politician mommy. So you have 3 to choose from, at least amongst the waifus. I haven't been keeping track of husbandos because I haven't really found any yet. Clearly we're going for the harem route. I haven't decided yet. Usually I do because I want to read everybody's story, but... Oh yeah, redheaded hunter lady at the inn, that's right. Who could forget? The squad that made camp in the southern crossroads is now nothing more than 2 people. They plan to return to Havlavan. That's such a hard word for me to say, I don't know why. Since they cleared that camp of brigands, they went so quiet I almost forgot about them. She rubs her chin with her thumb. I'm surprised they managed to stay alive till this day. Sending such an inexperienced group here shows that the officials misjudged this land. You don't say. Knowing that, I'll prepare a few very tempting suggestions for the officials. After she seals her lips, she still lets out a quiet chuckle, and that's all I got. I keep thinking surely city folk don't eat just wild game, saltfish, and groats. What animals do people breed in the nearby villages? A lot of mouflons, actually. Oh, that's terrible. You catch a hint of annoyance in her laughter. Our livestock won't sell well, but that's fine. It's hard to keep the number of lambs high. We would need to sacrifice a field to raise a new flock. Do you need my assistance? First, I need you to be sure you can handle yourself. Bring me some juicy rumors, won't you? And maybe talk with my neighbors. We Could use a few coins or someone with a steady hand. Thank you for your time. Alright, 1 hour, 30 minutes before dusk. Let's see. I'm saving now. Do I have enough time to travel to the tree? 30 minutes there, 30 minutes back. Yeah, I think I do. Let's approach the altar. Let's make an offering of blood. It will be a deep cut, which I think is 2 out of the 4 vitality. I want to have 1 square of vitality left for when I sleep. My appearance is not good. I got to take a shower. So let's make a deep cut. And the tree becomes larger. Your blood spills on the altar and sinks into it before it gets to the edge. The tree greets your offering with the sound of moving, stretching branches. Try to ignore the pain and prepare water and bandages to take care of the wound. Alright. And now we travel back to Howler's Dell. I still have 30 minutes left and it's time to go to sleep. Alright, where's the Ian? Head to the stables. You spend a few minutes with the gore shovel, but before you reach the square, someone clears their throat. Oh man, I might be out of time. You turn towards a man in his 50s with large hands, an elegant beard, and no hair. The stable master, he both introduces himself and answers an unspoken question. You frown, then realize that you indeed saw him before and your palfrey was nicely taken care of during your first visit to the village. Or rather, I'm one when 'tis necessary, but I'd rather grind flour, he says with annoyance. You do not think your beast waters itself, brings itself fodder from a storehouse, and cleans its own shit, do ya? Takes time and hay. If 'tis, he points at your companion, is not going to work for it, you better have a pouch at hand. You look behind you. The stables are not much more than an open shed with piles of planks, 2 donkeys, and a bunch of napping chickens. Would a dragon bone be enough? He nods. For 1 day, that's fair. He looks around, rubbing those hands together. My, it's a chilly day. Damn, that's actually a lot of money. 1 dragon bone? I only have 10 of those. I gotta go on some adventures in the meantime. Knowledge, your education could be of use here. Alright, let's see. Come to think of it, it's an opportunity for the village. Horse manure makes for great plant food. You describe what you've learned during your studies, and the man stops paying any attention. Fine, fine, he sighs and turns around. I'll grab a shovel and a barrel. Issue solved. Oh wait, I'm supposed to be making a good impression on this village. Wouldn't paying be better? Look, knowledge is power. I just gave him the power. It's getting dark and the inn is loud and crowded. The innkeeper lights up the rush lights, the workers drink, and the guards are preparing for the night watch. If it wasn't for the presence of the creek and the uncanny lack of beggars, this place would feel like Havlavan's marketplace. One of the tables is occupied by a dozen or so kids. None of them looks older than 12, and the youngest one, too dirty to resemble either boy or girl, is about 6. They are surrounded by their playthings, a mouflon on wheels, an elegant wooden sword, and a painted board covered in rocks, but they are bored and tired. Even though you only get a glimpse of them, the oldest girl notices your attention. She springs up to her feet and approaches you with a few skips. She's already pretty tall, dressed in a worn, subdued tunic, so long that it looks like a sack. I don't want to deal with children. I say I'm busy. I actually don't want to deal with children, but I'm supposed to make a good impression. It would be rude to ignore her. Let's ask what she wants. You wish this game had voice acting, but you realize it kind of does now. Yeah, that's sort of what I was looking for. Now it's like you're playing it, except you just don't have to do anything. You can shut off the visuals and just be painting the whole time, and you're getting the same experience as if you were playing the game. It's like an audiobook, I guess. She puts her hands together and puts on a grimace of playful misery. Master Roadwarden. Hearing such an antiquated salutation makes it difficult for you to hide your smirk. We here, she points at her group, bored. Oh, so bored. She puts the back of her hand on her forehead, letting out a deep sigh. Please, master, tell us a story or two, for each traveler sees with different eyes. The last few words sound like an echo of an old tale. Oh, let's be the storyteller. I'm a scholar. I know all sorts of stories. Let's go. The children gather around and ask you for a minute for them to gather their friends and siblings. After a bit of chaos, there's 20 young souls sitting closely to one another, on benches, stools, and on the ground. The red-haired twins brought a blanket to lay down on. You have a shorter side of the table all to yourself. The older kids understand your lost look in an instant. They start to hush each other, which causes an even greater amount of noise, but in the end there are dozens of eyes staring at you with a mixture of boredom and anticipation. Alright, let's use that big brain. Story from my church, story of my adventures, another adventure, tell them about Havlavant. Let's go for a few stories during my studies. A rather unique fairy tale. Wait, are they kids? They are indeed kids. Yeah, this isn't an Ayo redhead twins moment. These are children. It's short and sweet, though at one point it gets a bit cruel. Oh, this must be a Grimm fairy tale. Brothers Grimm, I mean. The youngest kid covers their eyes, which doesn't block their hearing in any way. As you get to the end, the tension disappears. The older kids clap for a bit, keeping their dignity intact, while the younger ones start to laugh and argue loudly about what the best part of your tale was. Two girls start to wrestle, pretending to be characters that you just portrayed. Seeing this, the adults decide to intervene. You stand up and the children do the same to show their respect. The girl that had previously talked with you thanks you for your time. My plié. Alright, 15 minutes before bedtime. Let's go. Alright, perfect timing. Let's have a sleep, shall we? Even though the counter stands outdoors, it's not rotten nor dirty, and you guessed it. Like the other furniture, it's brought inside every night. Eric's approaches you with a smile and leans on its surface with his fists. He's portly and even taller than his neighbors. He's got freckles, short gray hair, and an elegant beard. His long woolen orange tunic has a decorative cut right under the neck, and loose braids at the edges. How can I help you, traveler? His accent is heavy, nothing like his wives. He stomps with a heavy boot and looks around as if he's just waiting to get back to his other tasks. His fingers are still dirty from weeding the garden. I could use a room. Sure thing, he nods. My kids keep it cleaner than you'd find in this city. Just tell me when you're ready. Thanks. That would be right now. How many... what's my ration count? Ration count is 3. We're good. Alright. Thanks. Sleeping in a room. Your own room with a comfy bed and a locked door and a lot of space. You'll get a large breakfast, a wash up. Oh, wash up, let's go. My appearance is 0 to 5, let's do it. Okay, and I get 1/4 of a heart back. I guess this will be slower than I thought. Yeah, let's take a rent here. Your first sleep ends, but your usual 1-hour break is instantly disrupted by noise. You stand up, walk to the window, and see the reason for the commotion. Oh, +1 commotion count, we're at 2. A group of workers is just outside the inn, drinking and laughing. Eric's, the innkeeper, is also among them. You could join them, but if you do so, you wouldn't get a good sleep tonight, and after such a long day, you may end up exhausted. Is this going to cut into my getting hearts back that I can sacrifice blood to the tree for? Aw, hell, let's try it. It's an opportunity to show that I'm not an outsider, right? Oh no. Oof. Okay. Yeah, it does cut into my vitality, and now I am killed. I'm dead. That's probably not okay. I think I have to skip it. I think we have to reload. Yeah, F's in the chat. Thanks. Alright, we're sleeping. Rent 2. During your time in Havlavan, you learned how to ignore drunken crowds. You can relax and return to your routine. Sharpen my blade and go back to sleep. Alright, we're up to half a heart. You spend the night in peace in a clean bed with a tightly shut window and a warm blanket. In the morning, you find a stool placed by your bed, covered with a cup of mint tisane, 3 chicken eggs, and baked duck meat. Once you get dressed and go downstairs, a young boy, who's covered in mud and speaks unusually loud and enthusiastically, mentions that Gore Shovel has already been brushed and watered. You nod, but he runs outside without noticing it. The innkeeper is sitting near the door, from time to time carrying out another bowl with either stew or gruel. Theus is nowhere to be seen. Damn, 3 chicken eggs and baked duck meat? What a breakfast. I want some of that. I'm gonna leave the square and go pick up that dude that I promised I would next morning. Yeah, I think that's the first order of business. Is go to the Nurgle city and pick up that shit-stained guy and return him to the inn, I think. We're in town first thing to take that guy to the inn. Yeah, Vendor Trash Gaming. Let's see. Return to the scavenger's camp. The entrance to the scavenger's hideout is open. You see scraps of metal organized in piles, while the old furniture has been dismantled into loose planks. Hey, Roadster. The man looks tired and his beard is sticky, but he smiles at you. If you're ready, I'll start packing the tent. If you don't want to wait, start putting the iron on your mount. Yeah, it'll be quicker. Just say the word and we can leave. This village makes me sick. I hate it. I hate this village. I actually do. I want to explore the whole map, because you have to explore the whole map. But staying here too long gives you Nurgle, so... I am to take him to Pelt of the North, correct? Not Howler's Den. Let's check my journal. Oh, quests. Yeah, here we go. He wants me to escort him to the village of Howler's Den. He needs another day to gather his things. I know the road from the ruined village to Howler's Dell. It's safe. I can also take him to Pelt. For my help, he offers me either dragon bones or a mixture that scares ape men away. Okay, so it seems like I have a choice here. I can take him to Pelt or Howler's Dell. Mayor Lady doesn't want him in her city because he's a shit person, it seems. So I could take him to Pelt. Let's see what happens. Is he okay with that? Is he cool? Time to head for Pelt of the North? Alright, yeah, seems fine with it. The scavenger keeps asking you to watch out for beasts and wraps. And wraps the sharper scraps of iron in his cape. Folding the tent and putting it on your horse takes a while, and neither of you can sit down on the large pile of sacks and bundles. There's a long walk ahead of you, but for Gore Shovel, it won't be much of a burden. Once you clear the room, you walk away. At first you hear only the birds and horseshoes, then the man starts to whisper. Faster, eh? The apes are looking for us. You don't see any proof of that. Nothing we can do about it. Lead us to the southern gate. You move forward, slowed down by having to secure the bundles on Gore Shovel's back and carry your own bags. After half an hour, the man asks for a break. Even though you shared your food with him, he's not fully recovered from days of hunger, but the farther away you get from the ruins, the more cheerful and talkative he gets, mostly speaking about what he needs to buy and how much he hated that damn place, which I can empathize with. Then the beasts show up. I prepare my axe. A loud bunch of griffins blocks the road near a pond. For you, Their colorful furs and feathers don't look much different than the pack you faced in the valley days ago. There's still some distance between you and them, but it could be crossed in less than a minute. There's maybe 20 beasts in sight, and this time they pay you much more attention. They spread their wings and start to screech, some making a few leaps forward. Your mount is too overloaded for you to turn away and get out of their range. Better to hold our ground, groans the scavenger, preparing his crossbow and dagger. And these are the random chance ones. Let's stay on the defensive, but keep an eye on the horse. Quite the opposite, we should charge at them, yelling and swinging our weapons. Let's startle them. I don't know if I can do that. I'm not a fighter. Let's focus on killing one of them as quickly as we can. Maybe the others will flee. Or what's your plan? Switch hats? Sure. Go for the HeyWoah hat. Yeah, maybe the others will flee if we kill one real quick. This might be wrong. Maybe I'm supposed to watch over Gore Shovel, but let's try it. I saved. We can scum. He nods and moves in front of your mount, then raises his loaded weapon, aiming at the closest creature. Ready. I don't have a crossbow. I let the creatures get closer, then focus all my efforts on one of them. Once the man shoots, I dash toward the same target with a raised blade. Sounds like a way to get surrounded, actually. The man's arrow hits and stops one of the creatures, but it doesn't buy you much time. You point him towards the next victim, and the man understands right away. He switches his weapons and tries to get to the monster's side as it charges you, or rather jumps at you with its talon beak outstretched. Your powerful hit makes it fly to the side, landing just before the scavenger's boots. A pained shout pierces the air, and you have enough time to take a defensive stance. For the next minute, you slice and dice whatever you can hit, filling the air with screeches and feathers. The sheer number of opponents overwhelms you more than once, and it's difficult to keep pushing them away with your free hand. As you peek toward the scavenger, you see he's doing fairly well, jumping away whenever he lands a hit, but his short blade holds him back. You see blood coming from a few cuts through his clothes. Finally, it all ends, though not because of a lack of opponents. 3 creatures you butchered are still convulsing from pain, but the others, some of them hurt, have enough strength to run away. Their will is broken, yet the pack will go on, at least for some time. Your fine gambeson keeps you in one piece, and it is still in decent shape. The man spits on the ground. May apes and ibexes bang this place day after day. He leans forward, taking a few deep breaths, and looks at you. Roadster, you made me sweat, but we're a fine team, you and I. He laughs briefly. Let me draw my ballista and we can move forward. I just smile and try to ease Gore Shovel's thoughts. It's better to keep moving, yeah. I wish I had the Final Fantasy VII victory sound. That could have gone a lot worse. Dude got banged up a little bit, but I didn't. My armor's fine. No need to reload. Okay, maybe the dude's not fine. I'm about to read about it here. You did the math on Eternus damage. Doesn't seem worth them outside of Legion of the First Prince. Might even be a trap in the list. Oh, really? Eternus, huh? You wonder if you ignored them when you first encountered them, this would even happened. I wonder if I chose Fighter and just, like, killed them. On the way back, we would have just passed a bunch of corpses and that was it. I wonder. The man's sleeve and stomach are soaked with blood, but he tells you to ignore it. Once you get close to Pelt, he whistles enthusiastically. You weren't kidding, eh? What a fortress. The guards open the gate and take care of the scavenger's bundles, with Gore Shovel welcomes with a nicker. The man introduces himself quickly and asks to be brought some water from the well. Thank you, Roadster. I need to ask the innkeep if he has any soap. I'm not gonna chop off my damn arm. He clicks with his tongue. But like I told you, if you want If you want your coins, you have to come back tomorrow when my pouch gets heavier. But I can and would prefer to give you the potion that repels 8 men instead. It's useful, but not as much in the south as it is here in the woods. Are we taking the jar, or are we taking the coins? What do you think? Eternus is 235. He does less than Karkadrak damage. To get the free CP, you need a 110 point unit next to him. And he's durable enough to not die till like turn 3, so the res isn't really that good realistically. Even if you run him up turn 1 just to die, that's kind of a, yeah, it's kind of a mistake, it feels like. Repel sounds wise. I was about to take the jar. I just don't think he would be like, he does sound like a huckster, doesn't he? Vendor trash. I don't know if he's giving me snake oil. I feel like he wouldn't after a life and death situation, but who knows? And when I'm playing D&D, I always like to take that weird stuff that has like no foreseeable use right now, but then later, like 3 months later, I could just pull out some random MacGuffin that the GM forgot about and be like, I used this. What happens? Let's do it. I'll take the jar. I'm glad. He unpacks a large jar made of clay. I'm not gonna lie, Roadster. It's pure troll urine. Don't ask me how I got it. If you want to scare off some ape men, use it before they see you. Trolls eat them all the time, so they stay away for as long as they can. You imagine that you can feel warmth from the jar. Oh no. Well, I won't miss it. I'll be here for at least a couple days. You'll find me around if you need me. After all my recent camping, I'm going to spend a few hours kissing this nice, strong wall. He starts to laugh and walks away, waving goodbye. Yeah, let's make sure that top is on real fucking tight, alright? I'm not spilling any of that in my bag. You got troll urine? Update? And it is, 11 hours before dusk. Hell yeah, we got a whole day ahead of us. Nice. Jar of troll urine, not bad. Alright, we did it. What are my other quests? Explore, gain influence. Swamp altar. The tree reacts when I feed it blood. I will be trying to feed it as much blood as I can. But it looks like I don't gain vitality very quickly. Can I use a healing potion, I wonder? I should probably save the healing potion, you know? I should just save it. Let's go to the well. Oh wait, I don't need that. Okay. Let's see what's to the right here, since I'm already down here in Pell to the north. This is that overgrown passage that people told me not to walk through. The curvy road east is overgrown. Gore Shovel trots when it has a chance, but more often it walks, forced to jump over larger branches blocking the path. The nearby lake is surrounded by thirsty wildlife. A couple of stone slabs were turned into a hut-like shape, one of the ancient chapels raised by the priests of the United Church in the days of few soldiers and even fewer shelters. The dolmens proved to be especially durable, although the conditions they offered were harsh. The entrance is barely wide enough to let you walk inside. It was meant to keep larger beasts away, including your palfrey. You can spend the night here. You dismount and look around. Oh, hell yeah. Let's approach the hourglass carved into the stone. It's the most common religious sign of the city folk, adapted by the United Church, orders of truth, and the majority of fellowships. It's used in temples and during the funeral rites, but also to decorate codices or jewelry. The winged hourglass portray the ephemerality of life and the rigidity of time. When possible, they're made of steel, signifying the strength of humankind's determination and innovation. As a member of an order of truth, I should bow before the hourglass to honor the brave builders of the past. Oh yes, the builders. You stay in front of the symbol, lowering your head and gathering your thoughts. You try to imagine the struggles of the valiant builders who put in their time, sweat, and blood into gathering, shaping, and transporting these huge rocks. They were led by a vision, one that requires artistry, planning, and a sense of shared purpose. They did it for the sake of the future generations, and even if their names are forgotten, they saved many lives. The orders teach to be thankful for such sacrifices. In your silent prayer, nature seems both distant and complementary. It doesn't shape itself around your thoughts, but you feel like nothing is going to hurt you, not while you're here. For a while you balance between chaos and order. So be it, you say at the end of your prayer, as the tradition has taught you. The birds are singing delightfully. Let's enter the chapel. The beams of light get through the gaps between the rocks, but you can hardly see anything. A torch would fill the place with smoke, but a candle will suffice. You wonder how many travelers have sat on the cold rock, observing the entrance and fighting with their heavy eyelids. What are you looking for or paying attention to? Example door. Slab. Even though a part of the ground is covered with a single massive slab, there are parts free of any flooring. You see soil, small rocks, sand. In one spot, you find the remains of charred wood. A part of the floor is littered with the remains of an old campfire, not more than a couple of months old. You see dust, burnt bones, and wood. The wall above the spot is covered with soot. Alright, it's going to be the rest. Walls. They are all around you. Well, alright, fair enough. You notice sticky soot on the walls. Part of it covers black marks and pictures, possibly letters. A large part of the wall is covered with engravings. It's difficult to figure out what they are meant to portray, but one picture is obvious to you. A long arrow pointing down. Parts of the writing as well as the nearby wall is covered with soot. Alright, let's use our knowledge. I understand what's written here. The images and letters are a combination of two separate texts. The first one is written with words of Adir, and belongs to an era as old as the dolmen itself. It's almost impossible to decipher it, but you can make sense of it by connecting some words in the general structure. It was a prayer, or a spell, asking for a safe road. The other messages are maybe a couple years old. While they use the same alphabet, they tried to express the modern Sidet tongue. It's a list of wares, sometimes portrayed by images and their value in dragon bones. Some of the pictures are used as obscene insults. You see, for example, the head of a griffin or a sketch of a wolf. Someone was not happy with the prices they saw. One passage is especially interesting. Trapdoor payment. You make a couple small holes in various spots, but the most interesting area turns out to be a hidden beneath the remains of an old campfire. You move all the ash and pieces of wood until you find a well-preserved plank. You dig around, finding a solid trapdoor, locked with a steel padlock. Let's break it. You take your axe, but realize that the padlock may be much easier to break through. The wooden planks, even if a bit moist, are in great shape. You look for the right angle and make 3 strong swings. After an encouraging clang, the padlock falls off. You lift the hatch and the heavy, humid air suggests an abandoned farm cellar. Your candle allows you to estimate that the tunnel is roughly 15 feet deep, and there's no ladder that you can see. You think about lowering the rope, but you realize that one of the brick walls is covered with large holes, meant to be used as a sort of vertical stair. You hear no sound coming from the tunnel, but the moldy walls and old cobwebs are not very welcoming. Climb down. You have to move slowly, learning the new route. You hug the cold, moist wall, seeking the support from your boots. It doesn't take long before you feel comfortable enough to jump down, then light up another candle. Both the walls and the floor are made of stone slabs. You see no movement, but no other sources of light. The short tunnel leads you to a small room. Alright, big save. Something's jumping out at me for sure. The room smells of rotten wood and fungi. Abandoned junk is scattered on the ground in shelves. Earthware, jars, rotting scraps of linen or leather. Wooden plates, bones for carving, and rusty iron tools. While these odds and ends may be years or decades old, the basement could be just as ancient as the main floor of the chapel. The one thing that seems to be uniquely fresh and durable is a small wooden box, held together by a few fiber cords. I leave the box behind and climb outside, or we take the box. Alright, chat. Do we take the box, or choose the mystery box, which could contain a box? Yeah, this game is rad, Frank on the Rocks. I'm so pleased that it gives you opportunity to type stuff, and it's like you're in a D&D game. Actually, what it really reminds me of is Zork. Like the old text-based adventure games like Zork. I don't know if anyone is truly ancient wizard old like I am, but Zork Chads Rise Up. Any white... What was it? A white house and a mailbox outside? I can't remember what the east side of the house. Man, it's been too long. You're more of an Eye of the Beholder guy. I liked Eye of the Beholder as well. I played those. Also, let's see. A Bard's Tale 1, 2, and 3. Remember those? Those are pretty good as well. Menzo Baranzan, which came a little bit after those, was very good. Betrayal at Krondor, various Ultimas. Eat pillow, yuck, yeah. This has better ambiance and is less obtuse than Zork. Yeah, that is true. But then again, it has the benefit of time. You've gotten eaten by so many Gru. You don't know how to flat something. We're taking the box, right? Doesn't feel empty, but it is light. You shake it for a bit, trying to guess what's inside. You can't open the box without cutting the cords. Cut the cords. With my knife and open the box, or the box belongs to someone. For now, I'm going to keep it in one piece. Seems to belong to someone long dead. Finders fucking keepers, you are bones. I'm gonna cut the box turns out to be filled with rags covering a fragile bottle. It's small and closed with a tall wax seal, inside of which you see a thin stick. It should be easy to instantly open it if needed. You can't look inside, and if you open it, you may not be able to seal it again. Nevertheless, you recognize a magic potion when you see one. Immediately drink from the bottle. Any reloaders after you die in chat? Alright, let's instantly drink it. I will be reloading after this one. Oh damn, full heal. It's a healing potion? Alright, we reloading. Alright, it's a healing potion. That's sick. Okay. I'm gonna go to that tree, give the rest of my life force, and then drink this thing. It tastes like honey, raspberries, and wormwood. Initially it's awful, but you forget about your senses quickly. Your shell feels refreshed, strong, ready to act. Even the scratches are instantly healed. The ecstatic warmth fills your limbs, and you can't help but smile and giggle for a few breaths. It is hot chalky. Alright, big reload. I'm not wasting a healing potion there. Big reload. Walk inside, take the box, cut the cords. What happens if I smell the bottle? Will I be able to alchemically discover what it is? It smells tasty, like fruits cooked in honey syrup. You don't sense any hard drinks, probably a healing potion. If so, it must be valuable. You know that you can safely seal the bottle again. The potion shouldn't spill anytime soon. Yeah, big... What is the sniffa meme? Sniffa. Using the light of your candle, you memorize the holes. You climb up quickly. Alright, go outside. There's nothing else for me to do here. Alright, sick. Whoa, that was so fun. That was so cool. People would have walked into this place, shrugged their shoulders and leave, but, you know, it gave me an opportunity to type stuff and we discovered things. We got a healing potion for our troubles. How fun. How nice. The neglected path barely finds any space among the hills, trees and streams. There's a deer on the ground, lying in a red puddle, surrounded by a small pack of creatures which notice your presence quickly. There's about 8 of them, with thick furs and shades of brown, gray, and black. Hairless faces with small eyes and large mouths, currently stained by the blood of their prey. Some of them move on all fours, while others comfortably stand on 2 feet. They are 2 to 3 heads shorter than you, but it's your mount which truly towers above them. And you see how a couple of the beasts take a few steps back, grunting and glancing at one another. The one with gray fur shouts, and the others move toward the rocks and sticks which are piled on the road. They hold them awkwardly, and some struggle to maintain a straight posture, leaning on their new weapons for support. Then, almost all of them spread to your left and right, blending with the shrubs loudly. Only 2 of the apes are standing still. Appears that ape men are goblins in this world, I suppose. I'm not prepared to face a pack of goblins. I'm probably not, but we just saved, so I grab my axe and hold the reins tightly. Charge the goblins in the middle of the road, scream at the pack, shaking my weapon. Take a moment, but I reach for the jar of troll urine. Are we doing it? Are we spending this already? Or shall we save it? Chat, this is your decision point. Are we saving the troll urine for later? For some other thing? Or are we... oh, what the fuck is that commercial? Are we challenge pissing? Not the precious troll urine, we must save it. Alright, we're challenge pissing. I reach for my secret weapon, the jar of troll urine. You reach for the jar, trying to unstrap it from the bundles and take it out from its sack, but you realize it's not going to work. Maybe the goblins know what's going on, or maybe they feel encouraged by your passiveness. They jump forward a couple of sides at once. Damn, okay. This only works if we get the drop on them, right? I see. He fell for the piss, that fucking scavenger. He said this rock would keep tigers away. Alright. Then you get literally stabbed in the back. You turn around, seeing a goblin that, as far as you can tell, was not part of the group surrounding the carcass. It's holding a wooden spear, or rather than a pointed stick, longer than the creature's tail. Your armor was able to reduce the impact, but you feel the pain from the hit. And you can tell that the linen was torn. You'll need to find someone able to fix it. We fell for the fucking piss meme. I can't believe it. That fucking scavenger. Alright, fuck you and your piss memes. Reload. Man, that scavenger is going to get a piece of my mind when we find him next. Okay, so no piss meme this time. That one didn't work out. Throw them some food, maybe they'll leave me alone. Look behind me just to be sure. Dude, this option is for time travelers. Hello, fellow save scummer. Would you like to look behind you for no reason? Actually, I would like to look behind me for no reason. You see a surprised goblin. Ha, gotcha, bitch. Didn't know I could reload, huh? The most powerful ability anyone could ever have. Quick load. As far as you can tell, was not a part of the group surrounding the carcass. It's holding a wooden spear, or rather a pointed stick, longer than the creature is tall. Are we dodging it? Are we grabbing and pulling? Are we hitting the spear? I need to charge at the goblins down the road before this one attacks me. Are we on? I'm gonna grab this spear. I want a weapon. Let's yoink. You grab the spear and struggle for a bit to take it away from the goblin, but the way the situation unfolds seems to shock it so much that it lets go of the weapon and jumps away, landing on all fours. It grunts in awe of our quick load abilities, and the other goblins shout both at you and at one another. They suddenly leap forward, trying to get to you from multiple directions at once. Yeah, they weren't ready for Zawaruldo. There's more of them now than at the start. Over a dozen. Okay, I cannot fight a dozen of them. Maybe if I was a fighter I could, but this is... Is there like a Doom potion where I can drink it and the Doom music starts playing? Rip and tear until it is done. I rush Goreshovel forward. Your mount speeds up, though it doesn't have enough space to enter a gallop. You prepare your weapon, but while you feel somewhat comfortable with the blade when on foot, fighting from a saddle is completely unfamiliar to you. This is true. You have to, like, train to fight when you're mounted. It's a special skill, actually. Drink Berserker Pack, yeah. Where's my Argent Energy? Hold on. In my inventory, do I have any Argent Energy? I could... There is one jar I could drink. You were never meant to throw it, senpai. Maybe we need to drink the urine. The younger goblin attempts to stop your horse, but the strike it receives sends it into the nearby bush, screaming in pain. The gray one, however, manages to grab your boot, and is now trying to keep up with your speed, making one long leap after another. Your attack with the pointed stick almost hits the mark, but the creature makes such unpredictable movements that you struggle to land a good jab. Kick it off, ride faster, or aim for the head. You know, if we don't aim for the head, they're gonna give me the fucking Thanos meme. Should have aimed for the head. I'm aiming for the head. You hit it with the pointed stick, not only piercing the beast's skull, but also using the impact to push it out of your way. It rolls over the road and your mount runs faster. The tip is covered in blood. Your leg is free. The road is clear. We ride. For a few more moments, you hear the angry shouts and screeches, but soon after that, it's, again, only you and your mount. You realize that you still have the goblin's spear, or primitive pointed stick, which would be completely useless in most situations. There's a light blue scrap of linen tied to it, just beneath the pointed tip. You wonder why a monster would care about decorating their tool. Maybe it never bothered to get rid of it. Throw this piece of trash away? No, apparently everything is useful here. We are Roadwardens. We keep this stuff. Better attach it to my bundles. The spear is light, and you easily strap it to your mount's side. It looks like a broom handle. Damn. Encounter defeated. Let's go. And it only took one reload. Hoarding mode activated? Oh yes. Oh yes. For sure. A round pine tree blocks the road. For a wayfarer, walking over the thin branches at the top is not much of an issue. Even Goreshovel, led on a rope, could walk around the stump, but a large wagon couldn't move onward in one piece, at least not without detaching the mules, unpacking all the wares, and moving everything by hand. Cutting a tree into pieces would take hours, even with proper tools, and you can't hope to move it with just the muscles that you and your mount have to offer. Non-fighter detected. That's a good one, KR Knight. We are road hoarders instead of road wardens. 5 out of 7. Wordplay. Can we ford the river? Only the oldest people will get that one. Dude, let's take a bath. I'm at 2 out of 5 appearance, which is the highest I've ever been at, I think. Let's take a bath. The river is full of life. Not only a bit brown and greenish, but also smelling of algae. It won't help you much. Algae is the sign of a healthy ecosystem, actually. And you can push it out of the way. It's not that, you just move it, right? The oak ash soap you own can help you get cleaner. Alright, well, I guess I step away. I need 3 other cleaning supplies, I suppose. 2 clean. Clearly, whoever wrote this hasn't even levered a fallen tree out of the way. Yeah. I need to get one of those hook... I can't remember what they're called. We used them in forestry when I worked for them. It's got like a little hook and then like a huge hook, and it almost looks like a big scissors in a sense. Or a big pliers, I guess, and you can roll logs with it. Yeah, and true, it does depend on the algae. Branimate. There's a lot of different types. Anyway, let's look around. What do you investigate? Surrounding area, the tree, the stump, the tracks, the wagon, the river, the boat. Okay, there's a lot to investigate. Oh, a double hooky. Yeah, one of thems. Get me one of them double hookies over here. Alright, I'm going down the list. Let's look at the tree. The leaves are not completely dry, and when you break one of the twigs, it still contains water. There are no signs of sickness that you can recognize, and the termites and other bugs are still sparse. Beneath the trunk, there's no blood, no abandoned limbs. Okay, so did this fall from... Is this a lightning strike or something, or was it cut down as part of an ambush, perhaps? You don't find any side paths nor remains of a camp or a hamlet. The first game trail you find has been used exclusively by animals. Yeah, the deer trails. You expected limbs? Well, say no more. Let's look at the stump. You don't find any marks or maw or paws. The top is hip high and unnaturally smooth. You could comfortably sit down on it. Oh, word? Is this like a 30-foot tall deer just like getting the felt off its antlers, maybe? In the trampled grass, you find 2 sets of tracks to follow. There are no hoof prints. The first set is near the destroyed wagon. The wayfarers suddenly stopped. You can see where they made a sharp turn. The second trail is close to the tree stump. Most of the marks were left by flat, cheap boots. Not suitable for long walks, but someone was wearing hard, wide heels, distorting the ground. Both trails avoid the eastern wilderness. They stick to the main road and lead you north. They could have belonged to 24 people, maybe more. You follow them for a bit, but lose them once there's no more mud and tree nettles to find. The wagon. The planks are still firm and there's no mustiness in the air, but the vehicle needs just a push to fall into pieces. Like a child's toy with nothing to keep the parts together. There are ways to construct a wagon with just wood, leather, and fiber, but you find the marks of hinges, braces, nails, and clamps, which are now all gone. The wheels are missing their steel rims. You find only one linen bag, empty and moist. You can't estimate how deep the tracks are. The ground was hard, so the cart's weight wasn't a significant factor. Looks like this thing has been picked clean of metal like the scavenger was doing in that one city. It would only take 2 steps to disappear into the deep water. The rocky bank smells fresh and is filled with the sounds of frogs, insects, and birds. It's not a good spot to quench your thirst. The beds of long kelp, pulled by the flow of the river, are crowded with fish and 4-legged creatures that you don't even recognize. You keep an eye on the land. There's no carcass in sight and no signs of shells that would be left nearby. There are no berries left, only broken twigs, fallen leaves, and trampled grass. You notice a pointy arrow made by a human hand, with a head made of horn and black-orange fletching. These feathers originally belonged to one of the local pheasants. You see no arrows. You see no arrow marks around, not even on the wagon. Pheasants are kind of delicious, and they do have a ruddy, sort of rusty, with black spot coloring to them. The rocky wall isn't much of a challenge. The top of the hill is covered with short grass and sparse trees. You notice a couple of bushes with a good view of the road, just next to the remains of a campfire. Charred pieces of wood, ash, bird bones, and trampled grass, and a broken earthenware bottle. You follow the deepest tracks leading to the edge of the soft earth. Someone jumped down, or at least stopped stepping on the grass. The road here is already being overgrown, fading away, but it's in no worse shape than the other parts of the southeastern route. No alternate path was formed. Okay, so what happened here? What happened here? There's one arrow, but nobody shot any arrows at the wagon or anything like that. The top of the tree has been smoothed off as if you could sit on it. The tree's mostly still alive, which means it was probably chopped. When trees are struck by lightning, like the top is cracked and everything, but it's not smooth. I mean, yeah, it loses its bark, but... yeah, or the archer's really good. It only hit people, not stuff. That could be as well. And they were taken north. You think that the tree was cut down to set up an ambush. The cart which transported unknown contents was attacked by highwaymen. Its owners were taken north. Yeah, I don't think we know. It was just something light, that's all. Unless there's one of those things was like super obvious. Because there's like really expensive stuff that's light, and also belongings are maybe light, who knows? I think it's impossible to tell. Anyway, I just don't know. We'll have to go forward. As long as you ride uphill, the forest is sparse. Soon after, the tree roots tear the path apart. The road is coated in branches, acorns, leaves, and chestnuts. Some seedlings have already broken through the pitted surface on the road. If left undisturbed for another year or two, the forest will reclaim this place. Finally, you ride upward again. The plants are getting smaller, the road more rocky. Food is rarely light, true. Might help convince people to act against Glossia, perhaps. It's bread, yeah. Well, the hills are full of life. You don't hear anything coming from the watchtower. Its upper level lacks a wooden platform from which the guards could fire crossbows or drop stones on the opponent below, so this place was not meant to be used in combat, but rather as a shelter from claws and fangs. Such structures can be found in especially untamed parts of the Dragonwoods, used occasionally by travelers or patrolling squads. Since the end of the war, the cities can't find enough people and dragon bones to keep them in good shape. You see no footsteps, no lights, no fresh trash or latrine. The birds are preening their feathers on top of the tower, while the branches of nearby trees are swaying in the fierce, cold wind. Let's look for the tracks. The tracks lead here through the narrowed gate, then west. The hard heels are especially noticeable. Okay. Maybe there's something interesting among the trees. It must be a human-made copse. Only the smallest of the spruces are out of order, born of wild seeds. The largest trees are as tall as the tower itself, which surely doesn't help those who weren't meant to observe their surroundings. There are also some stumps, most of which used to belong to young saplings. These trees were likely meant to be sold to carpenters and coopers, but they were left alone many years ago. In the copse you find wild fennel and lettuce, thriving in shadows, and there are pears and berries growing amongst trees and shrubs. Let's look at the signpost. The wood and letters are damaged by decades of rains, frosts, borers, claws, and mosses. You scratch off some of the moss. The plank on the top points both towards the watchtower, where the letters spell south, and away from it, with the additionally carved north. The one beneath it points east, and this time you see a tidily written word painted on the wood in blue: enchanting. In Hoblevan, enchanters are artisans specialized in filling ordinary items with magic pneuma, and sure enough, the arrow here looks more like a magic wand. The bottom plank pointing west has a picture of a tall tower on it, surrounded by little houses. The carving spells monastery, but the wood is carved in red paint, suggesting danger. You see a shattered bowl, the remains of a meal from many years ago. However, the firewood and the lonely stool are not too old. You don't know. You don't doubt that the watchtower seems less threatening to wayfarers than the wilderness around it, even when it's locked. You know?
Good job, King.
Oh shit, Mega Nosh. Hey, thanks for buying a big hat. I appreciate it. Thanks for the $2. Let's walk to the entrance. You take a look at Gore's shovel. If necessary, it could bow its head and walk inside. The place should be a decent shelter for both of you. The planks are strong, heavy, well protected from rain and wind, and when you knock, they seem to be thick. While the door shakes at your push, it won't open. Defensive structures usually have a locking bar on the inner side, but you also see a large keyhole. You walk around the tower, making sure there are no open windows or other entrances. It doesn't look like you can get in without destroying the door, and doing so is going to make potential entryway for wild creatures. Let's take a look through the keyhole, shall we? You kneel down and take a peek. There's nothing in the hole, but the room is dark, with tiny bits of light passing through the crevices of the windows. You see the shapes of wooden furniture, like tables, casks, and a ladder. But the only movement you notice belongs to the dust dancing in sunbeams. Oh, a little Carl Sagan in here. A mote of dust suspended in a sunbeam. That pale blue dot. I'm not trying to break through here. I'll find this key eventually and come back. I will look at the gate, though. A planet of liquid and beef and pork. The meat planet. Yeah. I've never tried to do a Carl Sagan. I tried there, but I don't know if it was very good. I'll come back here once I find a key. Any key havers in chat? The path leads downward through the hills. The forests get thicker, and the signs of human touch are rare. The lone, large boulder surely draws attention. You can't guess its age, but the paths around suggest it was passed plenty of times already. You stop Gore's shovel to take a closer look. The remains of red paint are covering the eastern side. It's the same message as the one you saw at the southern crossroads. Don't enter. Danger ahead. You look down the dark road and hear the distant roar of a dragon. I am not prepared to fight a dragon. That's for fucking sure. Yeah, this feels like a high-level area that I've stumbled into. I'm not prepared. We're turning back. I'm not ready to enter the heart of the forest. Let's search for tracks I found in the watchtower. The hard heels can't be mistaken, and the travelers didn't mask their steps. They passed the rock from both sides, heading deeper into the forest. I'll travel as far west as I can. The stream ahead can be crossed by a humble ford made of hundreds of rocks. They used to reach from the bottom to the surface, but is now partially demolished either by time or a living creature. For a rider, crossing it won't be much of a problem, but most travelers would have to take off their pants and shoes. Moving an entire wagon would pose quite a challenge. The water is clean and the banks are low, a good watering spot for Gore's shovel. I could spend some time gathering large rocks and throwing them into the water, or ignore it. Yo, we're throwing those rocks into the water, boys. Let's do it. I have 6 hours. I throw rocks into the water for 6 hours. Alright, 1 entire hour. Let's go. You let Goreshovel graze and drink by the stream. You wander along the edge of the dark forest on one side and a colorful meadow on the other, and seek rocks smaller than your head. Carrying them makes you tired quickly. After you're done, the deepest holes are now filled by your rocks. 5 hours left. Yeah, I can work some more. Let's do it. Additional work will surely exhaust you. Oh, it needs 3 vitality? Yeah, I can't do it. I move on. How do you get back vitality besides sleeping, I wonder? I guess health potions. The colors of leaves range from greens to purples and overwhelm you with shadows. The stems of the shrubs twisted in all directions, seeking the slightest scraps of sunlight. The trees are not too tall, but their trunks are as wide as buildings. The neglected road has been carved into the thicket, an inch at a time, a corridor of plants with a floor made of pebbles that give way to saplings and vines. From time to time you pass by many turns, relics left by roaming dragons, unicorns, and trolls. Some of them are still used by beasts, boars, striped cats, or packs of goblins. The birds are sharing their songs as cheerfully as ever. You reach a gap in the tunnel of plants. The meadow nourishes a lonely tree, growing in the shadow of a rocky hill surrounded by humble grasses. Near the tree roots, a wolf without fur is feasting on a human corpse, unaware of your presence. That is a scary image, actually. A hairless wolf feasting on a human corpse. Big saver. You see no other creatures. The road in front of you is passable. The birds in the sky seem harmless. The beast raises its head. Its ears are shaking. Now look at the wolf. It's standing on all fours, crouching forward with blood dripping from its massive canines. Its head, and especially its jaw, are wide and long, like those of a horse. Its brown shell is muscular with pronounced shoulder blades, the hair resembling your arms, and a tuft of black fur at the end of its foot-long tail. The beast turns its head towards you. Its eyes are like shining charcoal. Now look at the corpse. You don't see much from afar. It's in one piece, with blood-soaked clothing torn to pieces, indistinguishable from the loose flaps of skin. It has no sack, bags, or equipment, but you spot a trail of blood leading into the trees. The creature must have dragged the shell from the deeper woods. The beast turns its head towards you, its eyes, again, like shining charcoal. Look at the tree. The beast turns towards you, fixing its eyes on your palfrey. After 2 breaths, it moves, speeding up, ready to strike. Let's do it. I jump down, ready to strike the beast with my axe. Goreshovel takes a few steps forward, too scared to stay at your side, but too smart to enter the forest all by itself. The wolf will jump on me. I'll duck beneath it, and I'll do one of those slides like an electric guitar and get there. Or shall I step aside? Or shall I hold my ground? Or it will stop and try to bite me. I need to attack first. I'm gonna do the cool thing, which is probably something a fighter should do, not a scholar. I'm gonna attempt it. We did save, so we're good. You slide beneath the jumping creature as it's in the air, aiming at the place where your throat used to be. Losing balance, you take a swing with your axe, but find only the air. Your knee burrows into the grass, you hit the ground with your face. A cricket runs away from your mouth. Oh no. The beast walks around you with a lowered head, seeking an opportunity. You can't tell anything from its black eyes. Your foe keeps its distance, hesitant to strike or write the face off. I clash with it, cutting it once it gets closer. I'll bait it into biting my armored forearm, then chop into its side. I'll jump forward, swing at it while avoiding its jaws. Maybe my only chance to throw my axe. I'm not trying to disarm myself. Or shall I intimidate it? Let's jump forward, swinging at it while avoiding its jaws. This is another chance. The first one didn't work out, but here we go. It tries to sidestep and reach you with its bite, but you manage to stick the blade in its shoulder. It leaps away, letting out a whimper, but gets back on its paws. Your foe keeps its distance. Alright, I'm working on it. We're chopping down those HPs. Drink the troll piss. Yeah. I gotta save that power up, alright? This one feels like it sacrifices a bit of my armor. I guess let's try this one again. Alright, I've hit it again. I've hit it a second time. Alright, 2 successes. Damn, how many hit points does this thing have? It doesn't notice you when you come to the clearing. That's a good point. Pestering Pickle, thanks for the tier 1. I appreciate it. Oh, okay, so I should just choose that one every time, probably. And get lucky, I guess. HeyWoah, give me strength. I'm currently formatting 35 citations, Chicago style. That sounds brutal, Pestering Pickle. I hope the narration of this story is at least keeping you sane as I deep dish citations. Good one, yeah. Delicious. One of the more delicious citations, true. Anyway, let's try to sneak up on this beast and get it. And get it with that axe. It's 2022, HeyWoah, get with the times. I suppose it is, yeah. What should I be getting with? I'm pretty good for an old guy. I'm looking up all these new words. I'm being nice to people. I'm figuring out what all this stuff is. I've Googled so many terms for different people and how to act around them. I think I'm doing a pretty good job for an old guy. For booming. The wolf notices your steps quickly. It leaps away, turns around, and gives you a long look. Oh, fuck. I fucked that one up. I took 1 armor damage. I think I'm cool with it. I'm not trying to, like, reload until I have a perfect run or anything. That feels a little wrong. Anyway, I stay ready until it stops breathing. Its brown shell is muscular, with pronounced shoulder blades, the hair resembling your arms, and a tuft of black fur at the end of its foot-long tail. The inch-long canines stick out like saurian-like maw. Its eyes are like 2 pieces of shining charcoal. A male, too large to carry around, too skinny to cut away a nice piece of meat. Damn. Oh, I cut myself a trophy? Let's go. You took the furless wolf's head. Alright, I'm building a trophy rack for my tyrant, alright? Takes a good minute before your simple axe manages to get through the backbone and flesh. You grab the head of the ear, avoiding its eyes, and let the creak of blood spill out into the grass. You rotate it around for a bit, shaking off as much flesh and scraps of brain as you can. You attach it to your saddle, hoping it won't besmear Gore Shuffle. At least it doesn't stench yet. You have a day or two before it starts to rot. Alright, let's preserve this thing. Let's get some formaldehyde. Why don't I just take the skull and clean it off, bleach that? I'm gonna have so many skulls and spikes all over my armor. I mean, we said this place resembles Warhammer AOS. Let's act like it. Let's start acting like it. Put some skulls on my horse. Let's examine the corpse. Parts of its chest, face, neck, and arms were turned into a red mush. The wolf didn't break any bones, not even ribs. The first worms start to crawl over its blood-soaked clothes. The human was a male with brown skin and short black hair. His brown pants and green jacket were made of dried leather. It has no sacks, bags, or equipment, but you spot a trail of blood leading into the trees. The creature must have dragged the shell from the deeper woods. Some skulls for the horse throne. Yo, should I feed the corpses to my horse? Maybe it'll become like Drorgar. Inside the left ear, you spot a trinket made of an animal bone, which contrasts with the dark skin and lures your eyes away from the blood. Let's remove the earring from the corpse's ear. He doesn't need that shit anymore. With a few splashes of water, you wash the cold blood off your hands and the knife. And we gotta burn this. I've picked up enough context clues that we are supposed to burn corpses in this world lest they become zombies. There's plenty of birds gathered at the edges of the meadow waiting for you to walk away for their next meal. The larger beast will come soon. You don't have much time. Surely not enough to make a pyre. My church requires that I set human remains on fire. I'll spare a few minutes, doing the bare minimum. You grab the only boot worn by the corpse and drag it towards the middle of the trail, then spend some time surrounding it with dry sticks and grasses. Cover it with a single dry bow. The guts are likely to put out the fire soon after your departure, but maybe you'll be lucky. You light up a simple torch and set fire to a couple promising spots. As the skin and hair start to burn, Gore Shuffle gives you a weird look. You realize it hasn't used any of its time to graze. I'll make another torch later. And I ride away. We ride. 3 hours before dusk. Your eyes wander between the wall of trees and shrubs on one side and the dirty pond on the other. The road is itself wide, covered with saggy logs that keep the ground from turning into mud. It's breaking under your mount's hooves, letting out what sounds like a sigh of relief. The water insufferably stinks of carrion, and is covered with a blanket of green plants and white flowers that draw countless buzzing insects. Even a horse shouldn't drink from it. Goreshovel tries to get familiar with the unusual pavement, and speeds up to jump over a fallen trunk blocking your path. Once it lands, it breaks one of the logs in halves. Soon after, you reach a massive black saurian resting on the ground, enjoying the light at the edge of the forest. It seems to be ignoring your presence. Once again, Goreshovel canters. Oh, a little cantering. Map check? Yeah, we're right here. We're working our way back. I feel like traveling here... What's our travel time? Doesn't say unless I'm in the travel screen. Got it. It might be time to head back pretty soon. I don't think I'm gonna make it. I might not be able to make it all the way to the connector here. I'll have to try again later. Once the monster raises its head, you are already in the air. The beast pushes itself away from the ground with its forelimbs, trying to catch any chunk of flesh with its massive jaws, but you safely hit the ground and return to a trot slowly. The road is bright, empty, surrounded by sparse-growing trees, gentle hills, and meadows. It leads you to a cairn, a pile of rocks ranging in size from your abdomen to your fist. There's also quite a few tiny pebbles. A narrow, hardy, passable trail leads south, but likely won't survive another year without travelers. Map check again. Okay, we're like exactly halfway through, huh? And there's a whole bunch of unexplored areas, too. 3 hours 30. I look for tracks that I found in the fallen tree. Without a doubt, the travelers were here, led by the person in hard heels, though there are more tracks around, both older and younger. Closer look at the cairn. It's wider than two people standing side by side, and taller than Goreshovel. The grass surrounds it tightly. It must be years old, but could just as well be older than any village in the north. You find rocks in many colors, including red, cream, white, black, and blue, and many dotted or mixed ones, while the cairn stays firmly beneath your touch. It would be easy to shatter it with a pickaxe or a simple swipe of a dragon. You also notice pieces of old chicken bones pressed along the rocks. Unfortunately, no coins. Do we follow the tracks west, or do I start to return? Let's follow the tracks west. They soon turn north into an old game trail, wide enough for your mount to enter the thicket. After a few minutes and with little effort, you reach an even wider trail. You get back in the saddle and ride uphill, following a convenient rocky trail covered in sunlight, cleared of plants. Once you get to the top, you look around. From here, you get a good view in the heart of the woods, and spot the smoke coming from the villages far in the distance. The further path ends at the ravine. You look over the edge at the gentle brook far below. The hole is too wide to be crossed with a jump, even for Goreshovel. You narrow your eyes. On the other side is a simple bridge made of logs and ropes, now rolled up and resting by a green shrub. I could really use a grappling hook here. Okay, we gotta find a grappling hook. I don't have... Yeah, 3 hours. I don't have time for this. I will return. I will return, either with a grappling hook or to walk all the way around. Continue on my journey. Every minute or so you get lost in the dense woods. When possible, you stick to the remains of the beaten path, clearing the overgrown thicket that blocks your way. But it would take many more travelers to sustain such a trail. The land around you may lack greens, but is far from being empty. The fallen boughs and dead stumps are slowly devoured by ants and mushrooms, a web-like labyrinth of wooden walls. while the white termites, larger than your hands, continue their never-ending march. Their guards notice your presence, but simply form a warning line in front of their workers. The trees are taller than the temple in the city, with trunks resembling the legs of giants. The shadows they cast are like a carpet, and the few beams of light nourish the sparse bushes and ferns, the only plants that aren't choked by the rotting late summer leaves, shaped like toothed squares as large as your face. Big termites, yeah. Now that I'm more familiar with this part of the forest, I may be able to find a smoother path. You're picking this game up later, you've fallen in love with the aesthetic. I think it's just charming. Isn't this comfy? I like it. I'm a fan of it so far. The forest gives way to rocks and green hills, but among the tall trees are numerous monkeys sitting in small groups, loud, yet shorter than half your size. They distort the green leaves with red, brown, white, and blue fur. As you approach their territory, their excitement grows. They climb up and down the trunks, sway the vines, jump between branches, or hang down, putting to use their long tails. They throw at you countless angry glances and grunts, but also cones, branches, and chestnuts. A piece of their fresh feces lands close to Goreshovel, but the pack's aim is rather miserable. I don't have a crossbow, and I have no time to dismount and yell at them. Let's endure it and ride forward. You tried to shield yourself with your cloak, but you enter an avalanche of missiles. One of the rocks painfully hits your arm, but your gambeson is in great shape and softens the blow. Soon after that, your shoulder blocks something from reaching your forehead. You rush Goreshovel, which is more than happy to follow your command. The monkeys follow you, swinging between the trees, until they reach the edge of your territory, letting out triumphant shouts. I think I said this last time, but the word for that, swinging between the trees, the word for that is brachiation. Is your word of the day? The corridor of leaves and gray rocks leads you to a gate, large enough to let a wagon through, held together by a wooden bar. The planks and rocks are covered with clay marks left by various monsters, but they weren't able to damage the wall as much as the passage of time and the piercing rains. A large man, covered in shadows, is observing you from the roof tower. His voice is hoarse, distrustful. You lost or aught? Listen. Grab the wooden bar on the door, I'll grab this one on my side. Just give me a minute. The man lowers the rope that hangs from an iron hook. You hear him pressing his feet to the wall as he climbs down, getting to the ground swiftly. Now step back, his voice is muffled. The man pushes both leaves of the gate and steps closer, looking around. He's holding a loaded crossbow, but doesn't aim it at you. He's both tall and wide. He's wearing a black gambeson so ragged it can't be fastened anymore. He tells a story of claws, thorns, and improvised repairs. The hole in the man's hemp pants reveals a scraped knee. You followed? He whispers. Hey, thanks for the speaking of follow, thanks for the follow, large geek. You're just in time, we're talking about a large man. Good. He steps away, letting you through. The stool and a bucket filled with dirty water don't look like much of a resting spot. You're safe now. The man closes the gate and observes you with keen eyes. It's hard to tell his age through his exhausted, sleepy eyes, a short, unkempt beard, and a bandage horizontally covering his ears and the spot that used to be his nose. There's a clotted blood in his brown hair and mud on his clothes and brown neck. Despite all this, he's of a huge shell, wide shoulders and thick legs. Now, how are you alive? He holds his weapon, but doesn't aim it at you. I don't know ya mug. Once again, I choose to be unfailingly nice. Good time to get to know each other, stranger. Yeah, I've not the time here. He chuckles weakly. I heard no human voice in days. He looks at his weapon. I'm no enemy, just on duty guarding. You can hang around, but I've got no ale or water. He takes a deep breath, observing you with curiosity. So, a warden. New to the job? Pretty new, yeah. He chose a shit place then. This gate here, places his hand on a brick as if to prove it exists. It's older than me. All there, points behind him. Wilds and beasts. My tribe built this place to keep them away from us. Naught but the brave ones enter the woods, and naught but the stupid ones do it alone. He scratches the bandage on his cheek. Name's Quintus. From Old Pagos. Been there? So you don't know. It's west from here, behind the crossroads, but it's touched by sickness. We used to send one soul here every morning and escort them back before nightfall, but some days ago no one came for me. I spent a night here. Sneaking wolf shits almost got me. He crouches, draws a handful of water from the bucket, but after he smells it, he grunts and straightens up. I went home by myself only to learn about the sick. I've been here ever since. What do you know about the plague? Not much. It kills. That's all I know there is to it. My tribe's smart, locking the gate. The right gave them strength. Shouldn't you find real shelter? He trembles, his eyes widen. Someone has got to stay at the gate. Ahem. The villages in the east don't know about the illness. They may try crossing the woods. Hit the closed gate while fleeing some wolves and stuff. He rubs his dirty neck. And I also can't leave the gate open. It's like a dam for monsters. If all I can do is choose the way I die, this is it. With my duty fulfilled. Well, you can call it surviving. I call it potions, he chuckled. His chuckle makes him wince in pain. Puts a hand on his stomach and leans away. Beast took me for easy prey, but the good monks from the mountain equipped our guards well. They're helping our ill, but used to brew all sorts of stuff. His hand moves to an earthenware bottle by his belt. I could really spend the nighttime in one of the villages. He adjusts his jacket by shaking his shoulders, making the buckles jingle. I'm not a beggar. And the villages in the north won't help me for more than a day or two. I've got no dragon bones. Just this little ibex. He pats his crossbow. Old Pagos is by itself. We don't look for kind folks. He thinks for a moment. I'll just wait. I'll get back home once the plague's done, or before winter. You look at his disfigured face. He's either mad or dumb. He may be a bit too proud, but knows more about the locals than I do. Yeah, I think the second one is true. He glances at Gore Shovel. You understand, I'm sure. Wardens are souls of duty. So, if we're to ask you to keep this gate open for me, well, you saw how it is. I could open it for you. Touches his stomach and takes a deep breath. But I need you to get me aught first. Oh, I clicked twice really quick by accident. I want to read what that said. I'm hungry. Bring me some rations, maybe. Dried meat, apples, nuts, maybe. He sizes you up. 5 meals, then I'll help you with the gate. Fuck, I only have like 3. And I need some of those. Yeah, I only have 3 food rations. Yeah, the plague does seem like spicy info for the mayor. How about I pay you instead? Yeah, I don't have the food right now, but when I return I will. Remind me to get some extra rations. Thanks. His smile may be disfigured by his wounds, but is as warm as his voice. I'll take any help I can get. I'm looking for Asterion. That's nice, but he hasn't been here in many days. Sure he's not dead? After you admit that he very much may be, he puts a hand on his waist. Well, better get ready to split open every dragon belly in the wilds. Sure, though on a different mount. He had a saurian, 4 ibexes long, 2 ibexes tall. It moves on 4 legs and jumps high and far. It's dark green like rotting leaves. That one time I was taking a piss in the shrubs and Asterion made the beast run up the rock face and jumped on it. Points in the hill. And they ran above the wall and landed on the other side, just like that. He snaps his fingers. His voice and eyes gain new vigor. You say the saurian was large and green? I mean, not everywhere, he points at his eyebrows. He has red scales here, and on the tail, and shoulders, I think. I don't know what to call it. You ask him for a bit about Asterion, but he has little to add. There used to be 6 of us keepers. I saw him every now and then, but not that often. What's it like in Old Pagos? He opened his mouth giving you a puzzled look, then lets out a weak chuckle. What am I to say? We've got rocks. He taps the wall. And make houses, bowls, tools. Sell 'em too. We grow oats and broad beans. Ibexes give us wool and skins for monks. What do you call it? The one you can write on? He moves on when you mention parchment. Yeah. It's a good place. Beautiful. Old. Hill, that's what Pagos means. Old hill. When you bring up the monastery, his eyes get brighter. Good people. They came here on a mission. Teachers, teaching us a rites book. My grandparents are pagans, you know. But we now follow the river of truth. We keep to ourselves, but help others when they need us. What about the bandits? He scratches the bandages on his cheek. I only know there's one band somewhere, but not around. I never saw him. What about Glossia? He straightens up and gives you a long look. I don't know who you're talking about. I wonder if he does. Oh, not much. His chuckle turns into a cough. Leads through lowlands, mostly woods and some ponds. It's dark and lethal. He mentions tales of ghosts, dragons, frogs, and blood mages, but whenever you ask about any creature in particular, his response is vague and brief. The tribes abandoned this path. Ever since the war, the trade has been slow. People refuse to patrol it. The plants are getting taller. But for at least a few more seasons, it's still a shortcut. It's good that you have a mount. If aught else chases you, always stay close to the paths and ride as fast as you can. Alright, well, it's time to travel. Find some inn. I wonder if I have enough time to make it back to the inn. You pass boot prints, cart tracks, pieces of rubbish, and the old sign of maintenance. From cut shrubs to stones pushed to the side. The monkeys and birds are small, and the hills turn greener and farther west you get. The sound of a distant creek is relaxingly monotonous. I can ride in peace once more. Gorshovel's hooves thump loudly on the beaten track. The green bushes, shrubs, and trees prove that the soil here is fertile, yet the plants don't overgrow the road. These crossroads must be busy at times, maybe even patrolled. In the distant west, you see the mountain peaks dividing the lowlands from the ocean. There's a dense forest in the north from which you hear the croaking of toads. The other paths are already known to you. You're surrounded by 4 signposts, all of which seem to be made from the same type of wood, now covered in moss and fungi, yet the pictures and letters that cover the nailed boards are nothing alike. West, east, north, south, search the area. Let's search the area, I got time. The thicket doesn't help. You notice the remains of berries and pears, but most of them have already been rotting, spread close to the wooden stools at the side of the road. The nearby creek is not impressively deep, but the beaver dam, for some reason taller than you are, makes it wide and waters the surrounding soil. A few steps away from the southern signpost, you find something sticking out of a shrub. It's a moist plank covered in fungi. You try to move it with a stick in a gloved hand. After a minute or so, you confirm it's an abandoned sign, covered with green letters and colorful pictures of flowers and trees. Steep House, you read with difficulty. And not 45 minutes to spare. Not bad. We made it all the way around the world. So, I could get my armor fixed up. I'll be back to 4 vitality after sleeping tonight. My appearance is not looking good. Let's go to the local priests. You head south of the dead tree in the main square. Before you get to a second thatched building, a large man stands up from a bench and gets in your way. He's close to 50, taller than most people you've seen in your life. Broad-shouldered, his hair and short beard are brown, matching his elegant woolen robe. A thick club is attached to his right wrist with a leather strap. He left his sandals by the sitting spot. Many want to speak with our guides and teachers. He speaks with a solemn, strong voice. But you are now welcome here. Turn back, stranger. I'm your new Roadwarden. Are you sure that no soul here needs my assistance? His harsh look softens. We can handle ourselves. If that changes, Elpis will summon you. I don't want any trouble. Is this a... I don't want to make it seem like I'm threatening him. Is this like a threat? Or real? Can I know why? You can. He swings his polished heavy weapon. You are from the outside, and cannot be trusted. The boors and slaves of the United Church will crush us if they had a chance. Before we allow you to spy on us, we need to be sure 'tis worth it. I don't want any trouble, or I'm not a spy. I'm kind of like a spy. Am I a spy? What do you think? Maybe I'll just say I'm not a spy. And he doesn't believe me. Alright, fair enough. I mean, fair enough, right? The druids don't want to see me. It would say, oh yeah, you're right, it would say lie if I were lying. I forgot about that feature. Let's talk to the tailor. You follow the guard's directions and reach the whitewashed building standing in the western bank, next to a small garden of flowers and herbs. It's well kept and clean, with a plain, beaten front yard and parts covered with sand. Through the open windows, you catch a glance of the furniture made of smooth, almost shiny wood with hints of dark, cherry-like red, decorated with carvings of plants. A woman in her 40s is sitting on a wooden bench. The table is covered with fabrics, threads, and needles made of bone and iron. She's sewing a long sleeve to what's going to become a blue tunic. Her movements are quick and confident. Her brown, wavy, shoulder-length hair is tied into a wreath-like braid. But other than that, her clothes are simple and inconspicuous. She doesn't have a left leg, but you don't notice any cane. You observe her for a few moments until, without sparing you so much as a glance, she encourages you to speak with a grunt. I'm looking for a tailor. You found one. Her voice is low. She doesn't stop her work. Name's Bion. I'm actually interested in both of these things. I want some new clothes. She stops her work and looks at you briefly. I can tell. You don't hear even a hint of mockery, but that's a lot of work, and I do not take my work lightly. If I were to give you anything, people would see it, and I'll not let you show them rags. And by that you mean your prices are high. You reach for a pouch and she answers with a nod. It'll take me a day or so to finish, and a fine fabric. Your city clothes are, she frowns, just fine for the wilderness, I guess. What I'll give you is for the time with lamb meat and mead, not pathfinding. The longer the outfit you want, the higher the price, though I'll consider the things people say about you as well. Alright, let's talk prices. A fancy tunic, a fancy robe, or a fancy dress. These are... okay, she was not kidding. These are exorbitant. I got 8 money. These cost 26 money at minimum. Alright, I can't do it. But I'm gonna farm up some gold eventually. Can you at least fix my armor? You take it off and point at its tears. The woman follows your finger patiently. Here's my price. For 2 dragon rings, I'll patch it up in half an hour. If it was in worse shape, I'd ask for more time and more rings. To get it truly strong for longer, I need it to be made of better materials, like spider silk. I don't know what a dragon ring is, but I imagine it's much more than a dragon bone. Tell me about this spider silk. It is a silk made of spiders. Well, fucking thanks. She's the first one to break the silence. The large ones, they use it to spin webs. It's stronger than thread. But my neighbors do not walk in the woods anymore. It's getting harder and harder to get any silk. Alright, so we need to get some silk and we need to kill some spiders. Yeah, I can get it done way cheaper by the guy at the pelt, which is where I will be doing this. I just wanted to hear about a spider subquest if there was one. I'll think about it. I think it was 2 per actually for him. Or maybe it was 1 per. I'm gonna go check. I don't really need this repaired right now. Alright, innkeeper. You got any food rations I can buy? Yeah, keep him in the hall. Smoked mutton, sack of dried fruits, nuts, biscuits. We eat fresh here, and pay with work. Coins are not worth much. When he thinks, his lips move as well. Let's say 1 ring for enough food to fill you for 2 days. In Havlovan, that kind of price would buy you 3, even 4 times as much food. If you're in a mood for spending, I also have something special. Just give me a minute. He goes upstairs and returns with a small wooden box and a hand-long leather sheath. 'Tis a teeth set. You're afraid of what he's going to show you, but when he opens the box, you realize he meant teeth cleaning. See, he points at 3 different compartments. Salt, cloves, and mint. You mix whatever you want here. The 4th holds only a small pestle, maybe made of polished stone. And here are the twigs you need. They'll last for months. Yo, toothbrush? We gotta work on our appearance. Seeing you're not convinced, he takes a deep breath. Well, we do not let outsiders bathe in our creek, but give me 2 dragons and I'll ask my kids to get you in shape. You'll get a tub with soap and rose oil, and they'll wash your clothes in water. I'll cook you something nice, as much as you can eat. Truth Chaos, you're very happy you turned into the stream. I don't think I would ever play this, but listening to Unky HeyWoah with his calm music in the background is working on a list. Yeah, just vibing. Yo, I need this teeth cleaning set. We need this. I have one of the 3 things required to look like a person. Two filling meals, which won't be spoiling any. So first of all, I'm going to buy that. But 2. Oh, we can buy 2 at once. We need money so bad. I gotta get 5 for the dude to open the gate, but I'm not trying to do that like super quickly. I have 7 money left. Am I waiting on this tooth cleaning set, or are we buying it? I might pick it up. I might just buy it. We gotta get money very badly though. I'm buying it. Keep these teeth clean. Oh, someone dreams of a healthier smile. He rubs his hands. But before you take it, he puts the box in front of you. I've got the hazelnut twigs in the sheath, but you can replace them anytime. What taste are you looking for? Oh, special flavor, huh? Walnut, apple tree, oak, willow, or hazelnut. You know, hazelnut actually does taste kind of nice. For any unaware, and it's not like this, but it's kind of like this. Nutella is a hazelnut spread, right? Although I like apple tree too. Let's do it. He disappears for a few minutes and returns with a couple of twigs, which he puts into the sheath. What else do you need? Anybody need some help around here? You say it as if we expect travelers, to get here any day now. I'll ask around and come tomorrow. Alright, so I need to come tomorrow. I have exactly 5 rations. Only 4 monies. I'm gonna save my monies for now and try to figure out a way to get some more. Alright, am I sleeping? Yeah, I got 15 minutes before dusk. Damn, this is actually really expensive now that I'm noticing it. I really have to find a way to get more monies. Let's go to the 3rd save over here. But I need those hearts back so I can sacrifice them to the tree. I simply need them. Like most people, you wake in the middle of almost every night. Before your second sleep comes, you sleep an hour or 2 taking care of your belongings. Sorry, you spend an hour or 2 taking care of your belongings, shell and soul. Some people spend this time with their friends, families, or lovers, but your routine is different. You don't have to take care of essential tasks. I stretch my muscles, work out a bit, spend some time outside observing stars and listening to the wild creatures, check on Gore Shuffle. It's a good time to brush it and make sure it has everything it needs. Best time to pray and think about my dreams, or I just stay where I am trying to ease my soul and focus on breathing. I feel anxious during this time. Let's check on the horse. Trying to build up a rapport here. You spend the night in peace, in a clean bed with a tightly shut window and a warm blanket. In the morning you find a stool placed by your bed covered with a pie with hair and cabbage, a bowl of plums and grapes, and a cup of mouflon milk. Delicious. Once you get dressed and go downstairs, a young boy who's covered in mud and speaks unusually loud and enthusiastically mentions the gore shovel has already been brushed and watered. You nod. Alright, sweet. We are almost at full vitality. Running dangerously low on monies. And, is the whole first sleep, second sleep a world building thing? I don't know if some places actually do it, but you're not sure if it's like a curse. And I think it's a world building thing. Mayhap. Could be wrong, though. Cleanliness 3 out of 3? Hell yeah. Although my clothes are torn. I have some combat experience, it looks like. No lies detected. I could talk to the mayor. Oh wait, he said come back tomorrow? Did someone contact you about work for me? Very much so. Ask for Timo. She's usually at the creek just outside the southern wall, doing laundry. She wants to find herself a husband. There's not much in it for you unless you'll be here for the marriage rites, but it will make her happier. Are we getting married already? This is a waifu game. Let's look for Timo, the washwoman. Oh, I could offer my services to the guards, and that's where I get the monies. Okay, well, let's do Timo first. Before you reach the gate, you find 3 washwomen who are walking down the path, chatting loudly. The wet hair on their arms and legs shines, contrasting the mud on their feet. Some of them wear soaked shirts. All have their heads wrapped in kerchiefs. You know from the city how hard and sometimes dangerous their job can get. You glance over their laundry baskets filled with clothes, and buckets of urine. Once they notice you, one of them puts their things next to a fence and tells the others to go ahead without her. Her companions giggle, but loyally leave the 2 of you alone. I was hoping to speak with a vagrant traveler. She starts and looks away. Whenever she speaks, she's both very direct and distracted, struggling to explain her plans. After a brief conversation, you try to sum it all up. So you seek a man who'd agree to take part in the marriage rites of your druids. She nods energetically, but then freezes. She's tanned from work, but her face is young and smooth, and since her hair is hidden, her bright hazel eyes keep drawing your attention. Not just any man. She interrupts you angrily. Someone who stays in the sun and works hard. For us and our kids, she asks as if she has any children already. You ask if she has any children already, and after another minute of her awkward explanations, you take a guess that she does not. You ask if it would make a difference for her to move to a different village. We live good lives here, safe and plentiful. I'd rather stay, but I could leave with a safe convoy. See you soon. Alright, so I am to find a husband for this washerwoman. Let's offer our services to guards. I need that monies. Escorting the foragers. A group of workers are going to explore the forest garden, seeking wood and mushrooms. You'll ride ahead, looking out for threats. The task will take you about half a day, and may be dangerous. And I make 1 monies? Okay, well, I got 2 monies left. We gotta do it. We gotta work. My appearance has suffered. For most of the time you stay safe, but at one point you find yourself evading a pack of predators, and your clothes are now soaked in sweat. Thankfully, your armor was able to keep you in one piece. Nice. Alright, so free money, and apparently it rolls randomly. We didn't lose any health, which is good. That's a good one. So apparently I should just do that every day, because it really doesn't take a long time. So my income is so far 1 money per day. And sleeping in the good sleep is 2 money per day. I need an economist to help me figure this one out, but we need to find more. Elder's Cave, that special tree, the Beholder. I didn't fully explore the ruins yet, and I would like to. You could spend less money on AOS. True, yeah. What am I doing here? Let's see. I could travel there in 5 hours. And I can't, like, specifically travel to any of these places. That's interesting. The path gets greener and meanders between treacherous precipices. You ride slowly, passing by birds and ibexes, but in the distance you spot circling harpies, and below you, a roaming mountain cat pursuing a mouflon. You take a sip from your water skin. The air here is a bit dry. The path leads you down again to a small, moist valley, impenetrable for a rider. The thicket is made of thorny shrubs, tall grasses, and the weak, fallen boughs that nourish mosses and mushrooms. You examine the remnants of the path covered with greenish puddles. Without the roots and with a fresh layer of pebbles, it may still be restored. You look behind you. The road is clear, no ambushes so far. But if you hope to clear this place, it had better do so soon. It'll only get denser with the passage of days. Alright, we're looking 0 out of 5 there. And, I'm becoming less nourished, alright? Your muscles, not used to such tiring work, grow tired quickly. So you take a few short breaks, avoiding the thorns and dirty water. When it comes to pushing aside the bows, you breathe heavily, but you need only enough space to let your palfrey get through. Maybe the animals will start roaming here again. You reach a convenient mountain pass, with crags smoothed out by centuries of rain and wind. The sun warms up both the vegetation and the beaten road, and the only beasts you spot are loud rooks, glancing at you from the rocks and branches. Clearing the rock side would take hours of work, and a large group of people, while forcing Goreshuffle to climb up and down, could break its legs. Let's dismount and look around. You climb up the rocks, having plenty of spots to rest your hands. Most of them won't move even an inch. As you get closer to the small dead tree, you notice something odd amongst the stones. Pieces of old fabric completely covered in mold, most likely the remains of a tunic. All I can do now is turn back. Alright, this is a rock slide. We just can't pass it right now. I need a bunch of people. You cross a clean, shallow, yet wide creek that runs south, then follow the uphill path squeezed between the hills and the lush forest. You spend a good couple of minutes passing a haunting meadow filled with dozens, maybe 100, cut-down trees, now overgrown by bushes and grass. You can't think of another time when you've seen a clearing of such size. It seems dangerous. If this goes on, the animals will join forces to strike down whoever is responsible. Well, then we'll cut them down too. The locals are surely ambitious. I wonder how far they can push it. Once the clearing ends and turns into a corridor of trees and hills, you stop your horse. There's a monster in the middle of the road, reaching out with its long arms to grab and devour fruits and leaves from tree crowns, chewing them without haste. It's standing on its hind legs and leaning on a thick wall. As there isn't much hair on its gray skin, you see its impressive muscles. The beast is 3 times the size of a human, and while each move it makes is slow, its long claws and the ease with which it breaks one of the branches makes you think that a single swing would be enough for it to pierce through your jacket, or, just as likely, that it would simply break your bones and send you through the air. Like most people, you know quite a bit about pebblers. Once they get used to an unfenced farm or a forest garden, getting rid of them can be a huge issue. There aren't many blades able to cut through their thick skin and bones, and a single mistake may put them into a furious charge, encouraging them to look for human dwellings, which they can tear down in revenge. The beast doesn't give you as much as a glance, but also doesn't move away. The best you can hope for is that it's going to walk away on its own. Maybe tomorrow. Maybe later. Alright, we return to the crossroads. I can't fight a giant right now. Some parts of the road lead uphill, some downhill. The forests are lush, but not too dark. A few foraging deer and boars keep their distance, and the birds are disinterested in your presence, singing cheerfully and preening their feathers. Sounds of an ongoing hunt reach you from the east, but none of the nearby creatures seem bothered. Once you get farther north, the colorful meadow reveals tall hills on the other side of the stream, but the road leads through a valley. There's a gentle smoke coming from one of the mountains in the west. Maybe there's settlements there. The road leads to a gentle creek filled with the buzzing of flies, mosquitoes, and gnats. You don't spot any critters along the trail, meadows, tree branches, or rocky slopes. Seeing the shapeless, dark vortex of wings, Goreshovel snorts. You've currently hit the southern bank. Oh, with access to an alchemy table, I could make a protective ointment? Dude, I need an alchemy table. I probably need money as well, if I'm to buy an alchemy table. Dude, I want to cross this river the cool way. You know what I mean? I want to make that alchemy table. I'm turning back. I'll look for a different route. Can I actually travel here or no? No, it won't let me. So I can't just go back, unfortunately. I'll wrap myself in every piece of clothing I own. I suppose I'll do that one. It takes you longer than you would hope for, but you manage to cover yourself with an armor of at least 3 layers of linen, leather, wool, and hemp. Only your eyes and a single finger remain without cover. Once you get closer to the ford, countless creatures beset you, making you instantly shut your eyes. They are striking the clothes, covering your open mouth, and hitting your shell like a squishy, buzzing hail. You ride forward blindly, trying to get out of here as fast as you can, but the insects stick with you for another few minutes. The red marks on your fingers start to burn slowly. Goreshovel swishes its tail angrily as it turns its head to its left, observing you with one reproachful eye, pinning its ear back. You look around to make sure nothing tries to jump on you, and once you're decided you're safe, you take off the suit. Unless you find an easier way to protect yourself, the insects will keep slowing you down. For most of the time, you're surrounded by yellow meadows. The trees on your left get sparser, while a few lonely birches on your right still bear the signs of tapping, marked with knife cuts tied with cords. Some of them still carry wooden vessels as if they were simply abandoned, maybe last spring, maybe before that. A few of the trees are already dried out, and the winds managed to knock them down. As you get closer to the crossroads, the ground gets muddy. The beaten path avoids the wetlands as much as it can. The screeches and hisses mix with the buzzing of insects, and as you reach a small pond, there are signs of blood on its bank. The air is moist and heavy, and has a hint of rotting meat to it. Yeah, it's better to avoid the bogs, I think. Bogs are darker than forests, and the local creatures start their hunts even an hour earlier. Okay. The trees and bushes are sparse here, growing from the barren grassland. Some of them bear late summer fruits. A group of wayfarers is spread around the broken signpost and the abandoned cart. They're skinny, but healthy, and are standing upright. They're wearing humble, dim gambesons on top of their hemp tunics and pants, all of them worn, in some cases undyed, in others dark green or brown. 4 of these individuals wear cloaks, carry lit lanterns, and are armed with spears, bows, and stone maces. On their necks, wrists, and belts, you spot small talismans, fangs, bones, wooden beads, leather straps. There's also the 5th figure, standing a bit in the back, with lowered shoulders. Unlike the others, they're hooded, and in such a manner that you doubt they can see anything other than its boots. Their clothes are shabby, torn, but their eyes mostly run to their club. A bow as long as its owner is tall and as thick as a leg, resting on one end of the ground. You get closer and the person raises their weapon with just one arm, but another traveler gestures for them to stop, and they do so right away, freezing in place. Damn, super strong. Who is this? The man behind the gesture doesn't approach you, just nods. Bogs aren't safe for us, but even less a stranger. It's evenfall, and far from roofs, but to keep moving, you'll find inn soon. You try to digest his thick accent, his broad-shouldered and with a large belly, but the scars on his face sculpt an image of someone who earned their share of food with many skirmishes. He doesn't reach for his weapon and pushes one of his companions closer to the cart. She kneels by an empty box and looks inside it. The man observes you with a little curiosity, holding his lantern high in the air. He makes an annoyed grimace, not really. Its timber is sickening, moldy and wet. We're checking on the place, but seems it's a bad year for it. He looks at his companions, who simply shrug and spread to take a look at the cart. All of them but the one with the bow, who doesn't move an inch. I cannot say I have time to loaf. You've questions, ask, but be quick. Don't put us to sleep. He smiles, but you notice that the others keenly observe you. Nothing is up. They're keeping us safe. One of the men, now turning around a moldy plank with his boot, giggles. It's one way to put it. Their pneuma is strong. Are you from around here? Very much so. And you new to these roads? You know our home? No clue. White Marshes. It's there. He looks at the crossroad leading east. An old place, plenty of stories there. But they rarely reach the ears of strangers, especially these days. Tell me about your village. It's home. He starts to play with his spear. As much a home as the bogs can be. Beasts are smaller than in the woods, but water's the real threat. Swamps, quagmires, sloughs. Who cares? As long as the peats under the grass and saurians in the ponds, it's our land. Alright, fair enough. I'm looking for a place to trade. We don't welcome many travelers, nor hope to see more of them, especially adventurers. And we need all the lumber we cut. We have herbs, I guess. What can you bring? He pretends to yawn. We pick and make what we need when the nights get long. No need for peddlers, at least since, he thinks for a moment, then sighs. We only lack iron, steel, bronze. Bring those, and we'll welcome you. It's not hard if you have bones or food with you. Ride down the road, turn left, take a gift to Thyrsus, the warden of our peat fields. He'll open the creepers for you. Seeing your look, he carries on. They're on the right path. One that'll take you to the village. What are you using peat for? What else? Fuel, bricks. We used to sell it. Some plants need it in soil. He then stretches out and gets closer to the signpost, using his spear as a walking stick. Well, stay safe, traveler. He raises his voice and addresses his companions. We've wasted too much time on this froth. Time to get back. The others prepare their own weapons and join their guide. The one with the bow stays silent until a gentle gesture commands them to follow. They keep up with the rest of the group, dragging the club behind with remarkable strength. After a few more days, there may be fruits and other plants to pick here. Alright. Old Forest Gardown. You're not used to the scent of the bogs, but you weren't expecting them to be so gentle. The humid air makes you think of smoked meat, and even though you ride by a few rotting carcasses and animal droppings, just as often you cross tiny meadows of pink, yellow, and red flowers. The noises tell stories of never-ending wars between the swarms of insects, frogs in their hideouts, snakes lurking among the purple grasses, birds patrolling both the water and the sky, and the saurians preparing to strike from beneath the surface. You can't separate the sounds of the living and those who are dying, if they even are different. You reach a boulder in the middle of the road on the edge of a large pond. The road splits from here in two directions, but the only smoke you see is to the southeast. Time to go back to town, I think. Alright, I'm gonna sleep for free tonight. We gotta save our monies. The sounds of rain wake you up briefly. Before you return to sleep, you think about your plans. Riding in the mud is difficult. Goreshovel will have a rough time, especially on the unpaved grounds. It may be a good day to take a break at the inn. It's a calm, warm night. As your first sleep ends, you stretch out and prepare yourself for an active hour or two. It's time to take care of some things that must be done, at least once every few days, though they are a bit more challenging than your nightly routine. Time to check on my herbs and other ingredients. I get rid of the plants that have failed to dry out, throw away anything that's rotten, and watch my jars before I fill them up again, okay? It's warm here, but the mouflon skin allows your back to rest a bit. You wake up a couple times during the night. The smell of the cooked stew fuels your hunger, and the staff returns to the room once every hour or so to stir the pot. You wake up early, but leave the building to check up on Gore Shovel and give it water from the creek. The innkeeper is sitting near the door, from time to time carrying out another bowl with either stew or gruel. Thais is nowhere to be seen. Alright, am I supposed to take this whole day off now because it rained, or what? Shall I wait at the table for the trader? You hear a strong voice. Waiting for me? Just a minute, I usually start a bit later. The man walks by you and goes behind the counter, where he starts to unpack and inspect his wares. When he looks into a sack of white flour, you hear his mumbling and occasional cursing. He gestures for you to step closer and points at a little dark blue insect that's trying to flee. Weevils. Shit me fire, 'twas ground a few days ago. No pies for us tomorrow, looks like. He puts the sack into the ground. I'll take care of it later. Roadwarden, I. Even the mayor cared enough to see you, and kids are lining up to look at your horse. Strangers are like ghosts to them now. He's wearing a simple brown robe with no hood, a rope instead of a belt, and modest trim made of green thread. It barely reaches below his knees, revealing his sandals and crude pants made of linen. At the same time, it's way too large for him and hangs from him like a bag. He looks like a poor vendor. He stands sideways to you with legs crossed, leaning on the counter with one hand and keeping the other one on his hip. He's around 40, short and a bit greasy, but with a humble beard and hair. His fingers are unusually long. I'm going to be unfailingly polite, just like always. We're friendly to everybody here. You're a trader, I assume. For you, a trader. For my neighbors, the treasurer. Name's, Akakios. Everyone brings here what they have in abundance, and I either sell it to travelers or divide it among the workers, builders, and artisans. These things here are not mine. He runs his eyes over the crates and barrels, but I can show you our wares if you want. But do not ask me for better prices just because you're a traveler. I need to explain myself for every deal I make, or Thais will laugh at me all the way to the pyre. I don't need furniture about, do you have anything? I bring goods to sell. What can you tell me about Asterion? Let's talk to him first. That ever though he was here more than once, he did not leave much behind. Smelly Horda. He looked around and spits on the ground. At least he bought a blade from me. What blade was it? Sure, it was a special one. A sickle sword with a tip wider than 'twas at the grip. Long as from fingertips to shoulder. Not a sword, not a knife, single-edged. Brought his own steel to melt for it. Did you sell the wolf out? I'm about to, after I'm done figuring out if the person has a job for me or not, I'm gonna sell all the stuff from my inventory that I don't think I need. More for cutting bushes, creepers, roots. It will not fell a tree, but it's a fine tool. He nods to a passerby, but his smile disappears as quickly as it had shown up. Pathfinders use it. My pa used to have one as well. He chopped nuts with it. Nuts and mouflons. Pretty much anywhere. There are hills from here to the coast, and bogs to the north, and the heart of the woods can not help with that. Alright, I bring goods to sell. Select an item you'd like to offer. Take a sip of hot chocolate here. The bone earring or the head of a beast? 'Tis nothing special. I'll ask Eric's to pack you a meal for it. Oh, I wonder if I can... Has anyone played this game? Can I screw myself by selling... Will the game let me sell stuff that's like a quest item? Or important later? I don't want spoilers, but I do want to know roughly if that's the case. Like if the game... If I can screw myself by selling stuff that might be useful later. That's a hoarder talk? Hey, I'm a road hoarder, alright? You would hold on to the earring? Yeah, it's just a meal. I'm looking for monies right now. I will sell the head of the beast, though. This one seems easy. You take the trader to your bags, then show him the head of the beast that you faced in the heart of the forest. 'Tis uglier than my grandma, and the soul here will hang. No soul here will hang it on their wall. I'll give you a ring for it. Who knows if we can ever sell it? Oh yeah, I wonder if they have a taxidermist here. Maybe dragon bones and rings are just, maybe it's synonymous. Maybe they're the same thing. It's like slang for a buck. Yeah, okay. Makes sense, makes sense. It's hard to say, What do travelers need? He clears his throat and turns away to have a look at his store. While some of the crates and barrels are empty, they carry an assortment of odds and ends. Tools made of wood and stone, pots, mugs, seeds, vegetables, fabric. Takes him a few minutes to look through the wares. He puts 3 packages on the countertop. As he unwraps the first one, you recognize what it is by the shape alone. Tell me this is not a beauty. He chuckles and lets you hold the shiny battle axe. The haft is long, but the head is light. I know what you're thinking. Your eyes say everything. He praises the weapon loudly, but you barely listen to him. You see your reflection in the unused blade, as sharp as they get. You're not a smith, but you see not a spot of rust. When you take a swing, it takes hardly any effort. The leather straps holding the piece together are just a decoration, and the handle is as smooth as glass. Perfectly fits into your hand. The man chuckles. You like it. Now, I doubt you can afford it, but do not worry, that's not all I have. His long fingers tap against the parchment windows of a lantern. Its frame is cheap, made of oak. It's glued, and it's quiet, he says while shaking it in the air. Not as fancy as the iron ones with oil, but you can carry it in caves without luring all the corpse eaters and goblins. Perfect for a traveler. Just take a look. Inside the lantern you find a place for a candle. Not a great match for people living in wooden houses. Hide and glue are not easy to make, but I will not ask for more than 4 rings. The last sack is as wide as a saddle and 3 hands tall. It contains a whole bunch of undyed linen sheets. We usually keep them for traders, but could use a few dragon rings. And you know if there's ever going to be a next caravan. He gives you a look. Interested? Alright, 41116. I don't want any of this, but it probably would like this later. Do you need any help? Know what? There's something urgent. I need a medicament. A medicament, pardon me. For my daughter. Not that she's hurt or anything. He raises his open palms as if to show that he's not holding a knife. She's a teen and wants to start hunting in the woods. I cannot teach her much, but I'd sleep better with her having a healing potion. You have, he hesitates, almost 16 days. Bring me the potion before the last dusk, and I'll pay you 5 dragon rings. A strong elixir would be worth more than 5 coins. This is actually incredibly true. I've found a few potions, but they are way more valuable than 5 fucking coins. Get out of here. Where can I find such a potion? I can think of 2 places. The safer bet is beyond Old Pagos on the mountain of the crazy monks. Crazy and boring, more boring than a mouflon, but they often brew with Numa. You can also head south, east of the crossroads behind Pell to the north. I've never been there myself, but you'll find a dolmen there as old as a city. And this, he reaches for his clinking pouch and pulls out a massive iron key, is meant to open some secret passage there. Is that the one that I already found? How do you know about that secret? From a merchant, she's from south of Hag Hills. I was meant to pass the key to her friend, but he never showed up. And you've been keeping this key at your side ever since. I kept it with my trinkets and coins, that's all. We were planning on going there for years. But it's one of those things that you talk about, not do. His brief laughter turns into a cough. Where does the dragon put the rings on? I'll tell you when you're older. No, but that's fine. She hates me. It's better for her to take after her mother. As long as your daughter hates you. His low voice sounds like grunting. Since you have to know, our laws make me admit I was a wife-beater, and by my own deeds I've lost my family. My daughter has a new father now, and I'm not allowed to marry again. As he starts to speak faster, he also wags his finger at you. But I'd never touch my girl. Keeping her safe is the right thing to do, even if it does not make things right. Well, now I'm gonna extort the fuck out of this guy. Well now, 'tis all I can pay. He spreads his arms. I do not sculpt you stupid. The dragons I get here belong to the village. 5 is fair pay. And I'll mention to all the neighbors how helpful you are. He takes a deep breath and adjusts his robe. Still sweating. I'll look into it. Am I just completing this quest immediately? About the potion. It's right here. With a grin, he picks up the bottle gently, jiggles it, weighs it on his hand, and puts it on the counter. Great. Now let's hope my little girl will not get herself swallowed by a dragon. So we said 5 rings. He smiles and looks at the coins in the pouch. Thanks. O bringer of good news. I will take my reward. Let's offer my services to the guards. And we will be save scumming this for sure to make sure I don't lose any health. 100%. Turns out you don't have much to do. You get your job done quickly and with little difficulty. Nice. I gotta eat. I need to eat food. How much is food at the inn? Okay, we're up to 2 nourishment. Let's travel. Let's see Pell to the north. Perhaps they'll sell me this for more. Let's enter the inn. And approach the scavenger. Let's collect our pay. Hey, Roadster. Need anything? Enjoying your stay? It's not bad here, not bad at all. They bought what I could sell, but the hunters want my entire pouch for getting me south. We've agreed to a lower price, but they won't just drop whatever it is they're doing to escort me. I don't care. I'll wait for a couple days, do some chores for the innkeeper, rest from the forests. Once the hunters are down with their plans, we'll move out. He scratches his cheek and beard and finally sighs. But I do feel like I've eaten a troll shit, eh? When I landed here, I had my pile of bundles and trinkets, and now, starting with nothing again. I should have listened to the warnings. This land belongs to no man. Oh, is there no merchant here, perhaps? Oh yeah, innkeeper. Here we go. Do I have anything you'd like to buy? He wants a healing potion. 8 coins? That's a lot of money. 4 coins? Damn. Totally worth it instead of the 1 from that other place. That's a deal. Take it. Take it off my hands. Also, any leftovers? None today. Fuck. Okay. About Glossia's band. He wants me to get the answers from the mayor. Oh, yeah, okay. I'm on it. I'd like to ask about someone. Tell me about... Okay. I'll ask about a specific person later. What's this guy sell again? Rations, corals, a crossbow for a whole lot. High-class fur. Okay. Probably gonna hold on to that healing potion. Although that's $8 dues. Save. The guards greet you with polite nods. Oh yeah, that's right. I should be gambling with these guards every day. Because my scholar power, helps me win. I show her the arrow I found near the fallen tree. Did any of you drop this? She returns it without hesitation. Nah, we get ours from the villages in the south, and they don't use pheasant feathers. The locals ask too much for their arrows, as if they're filled with pneuma or something. Okay, so the arrow does not belong to one of these people that we found near that cart. I was foraging for berries for the innkeep. She chuckles. So I've heard. Don't worry about it. Usually we forage by ourselves, but he wouldn't ask you for a dragon for a meal. He gives small jobs to people all the time, just to see who agrees to do them. Wants to judge who's of use and who's too proud for their own good. I'm looking for knowledge about wild creatures. Oh wait, yeah, that's $14. No thanks. Alright. Save scumming begins. Let's throw some dice. Winner takes all. I'm ready. Time goes by, filled with lighthearted jokes and chit-chat. During the final round, you get ahead of everyone, and the spectators playfully comment on your moves. Fuck yeah. Okay, so the order of operations goes, we work for the guards in that one city, come here, chance at a free meal, play dice, win 3. And that's, we are now at +4, -2 if we're staying at the inn. Sweet. Alright, and I still got 5 hours to travel around. Hey, it's been a while since we went to our original Tullius camp. Let's check it out. Maybe there's something new here. Tulia welcomes you with a smile. Is everything alright? Camp hasn't changed much since your last visit. The soldiers are cleaning their equipment. Did you ever enter the road leading through the heart of the woods? Oh, we were advised not to. Have you seen this huge gate in the west, made of rocks, very tall? We met a guard there named Quinton, maybe? A kind soul, but a bit slow. He almost begged us not to enter the woods, so we took the longer route. That's where all the settlements are anyway. Her companion chips in. Didn't miss much. I did meet that guy. Do you have any idea about what happened to the ruined village in the west? Nah, there were goblins around the walls. We never went there. But I was told that the wrath of the herds crushed it, maybe 10 years ago. Her companion agrees with a nod. If there were any survivors, they are surely gone by now. Have you ever encountered the bandits from the north? She let out a sad sigh. So there are other bandits in the woods after all. Her companion hits his forehead with his palm. This peninsula really hates us. Can't make a dent in its shell. Tulia puts her hand on his shoulder, then looks back at you. Thanks for telling us, Roadwarden. If I survive long enough to report to someone, I'll be sure to mention it. Maybe I should learn about them first. Sure, good luck with that. The man with the bird chuckles. I approach Tulia. Won't get any cleaner. Okay, cool. That was a nice little update. Oh yeah, how much time do we have here? 4 hours, 15 min before dusk. Four hours exactly? Let's fucking go. Alright, we've started the loop. The money loop. Main square, innkeeper. Let's sleep. In the end, please. Finally completing that heart. Let's buy 1 ration. So we have 6 rations. And then tomorrow I'm gonna give that guy 5 of them just to complete that quest. Maybe the game cares about that kind of thing. Maybe it doesn't. But we'll just hedge our bets, right? Leave the square, offer my services to the guards, work for $2. Get a little bit uglier. And let's travel to this gate and give this dude his... Hopefully we don't go there and it's just like a fucking skeleton. I have your food rations. He gives you a radiant smile. He cups his large, scarred hands, waiting for you to give him the packages. Once you're done, he opens a sack of nuts and shoves them in his mouth. The bandage is the only thing that stops him from looking like a hamster. But seriously, you're tempting the forest. You need to seek shelter. Nah, he waves it off with a smile. But once he speaks, his voice cracks. And where would I go anyway? Shall we send this guy to Howler's Den or to Pelt of the North? Howler's Den is the more comfortable area, but the dude would probably fit in better at Pelt of the North. He's big. He's like, the innkeeper is going to ask him to do something, and this dude is totally going to do it. You know what I mean? I'm thinking he's more of a Pelt kind of a guy. I think I agree with chat here. Pelt of the North. You know what? I wouldn't mind spending time with Dalit and her crew, especially in the winter. Or Delete, I guess. But forget it. I can't even afford that unless they're looking for a pair of hands. I'd better stay here. So the thing that stops you from going to Pelt right away is dragon bones? Howler doesn't even like people who aren't from Howler. Yeah. I mean, that's a pretty big thing. In the north, everyone looks after themselves. The hunters may be my friends, but I won't beg them for help. Don't you miss fresh, warm food? I could ask the innkeep to let him stay. Yeah, for labor. This is for sure what I will do. I'd like you to open the gate. Actually, maybe another time. I'm performing diplomacy here. Alright. On to Pelt to the north. First of all, let's approach the guards, play some dice. Ready when you are. Oop, we lost. Reload. Hey, got him. Alright, I met Quintus, the one who trained with your team. He may need your help. You explain the difficult situation he finds himself in, putting emphasis on his wounds and food issues. Listening to your conversation, the nearby guards surround you, forming a circle together with the boar, and ask you if Quintus is in one piece. Your tale causes the tension to give way to jokes. He's so scared of the wrath of the herds that he'll sooner eat his bloody crossbow than learn how to use it, says one of the older women. Let's give the poor guy a break, the guard in yellow armor interrupts, which is not welcomed by a one-eyed man who comments that he's not even here. After another minute, she grins at you. Thanks for telling us. We'll change some plans and get in touch with him during our next trip. Come on, not that. The same man chips in but quiets down under the redhead's stare. There's this gatekeeper, Quintus. Actually, first of all, any leftovers? No, okay. So what do you expect me to do with him once he's here? He can handle some easy tasks. Ask him to be the lookout for the beasts and travelers. He's a brave, strong soul. He could assist your hunters on their trips. We use our wits and traps, not so much brute force, but I guess you're right. A fierce fighter may be of use. He rubs his arm and reaches for a piece of roasted lizard. Bring him here. I offer him gruel and a corner to sleep, and I'll pay him once he helps us catch some worthy game. Hell yeah. And back to the gate. Yo, this is fun. I'm making deals. I'm moving people around, getting this poor soul someplace to live. Oh, nice. About your duty. Eisen will allow you to stay at his inn. He'll even pay you after you help the hunters on one of the more vicious trips. He crosses his arms, still hesitant. Won't be more risky than this place, and I'd finally have the time to rest a bit, but what before that? Am I to live on oats and water and rags? If you're really this desperate for coins, I could spare a few, enough for you to get comfortable at the inn. Yeah, the hero of the peninsula, Roadwarden extraordinaire. He steps away. You already helped me quite a bit. I can't ask you for that. Here, take 13 fucking hold up. Oh, okay, I have 18. And plus we're on +4 a day. Fucking 13? Jesus Christ. Oh, Order of the Final Truth or whatever fucking religion I follow, you better be watching this shit. 13 dragons. God damn. I'm gonna have to enter some gameplay loops after this one, if you know what I mean. After a long pause, he gives you a grateful nod. Fine. I gather my things, leave the gate open, and get moving tomorrow morning. I paid enough blood for my duty. A long pause. But I'm now in a debt, and I'm ready to enter the woods to repay it. Find me in the inn, if you ever need my help. Would you like an escort? No need. I'll stay away from the cursed tree in the ruins, though the paths you won't follow on a horse. Thanks, though. Alright, and also, can you open the gate? Yeah. Alright, we got a hireling. Oh wait, this is the monkey's territory. I do not wish to go through here. I didn't mean to go here. Alright, we have to reload. I didn't mean to go here. I need to return. As you prepare your belongings, you realize that the days are getting noticeably shorter. The closer you get to autumn, the less time you'll have before the beasts of the night leave their lairs. But to make sure not to waste too many hours, you hear a thunderous roar. You rise from your feet and rub the sleep from your eyes. The doors are opening, people are shouting orders and words of warning. As you open the window, you see what's behind the commotion. Commotion count 3. Something is on the other side of the wall, trying to get through, and the guards are fighting it off with their torches, spears, and crossbows. Thanks to their light, you see the large, furry paws placed on the top of the wall walk. As far as you can tell, the beast is but a single leap away from getting inside. I need to help them. I'm a hero. You look at your gambeson and blade, still a bit foggy in your thoughts, and once you find them, you struggle to get inside the jacket. As your habits kick in, you see the innkeeper right in front of you holding a candle. You're a guest. Stay here, he says without a shadow of hesitation. My team has no time to worry about outsiders. Just after his words, you hear cheerful laughter from the wall, judging by the way they point their fingers and lower their weapons. The beast is fleeing. Well, shouldn't expect people will need my help all the time. The days are getting shorter. Any leftovers? Nope. Damn, there's never leftovers. Well, that's alright. The armorer is nowhere to be found. Interesting. Let's approach the guards. Any dice throwers? Hey, give me that. Give me those dollary dues. Alright, so we're back up to 8. Okay, we found the money loop. I discovered it. Now we can travel here and work for the guards. Okay. Next up is farm up enough gold to pay the lady 14 so she can give me cool information about monsters. Then buy those silks. I need to find some spiders so that I can make some cooler clothes. I might as well repair stuff. And my vitality is maxed, which means I need to at least go to that tree and give it some blood. So that every time I'm going to sleep, I'm essentially giving it a quarter of a heart. And we can enter the blood loop. So we have the money loop, and we have the blood loop. And that's what we'll start doing moving forward. And, 4.25 hour stream, not bad. Almost 10:30, time for work. Hey, thanks for watching. What'd you miss? Good meme.
Twitch Prime.
Police Lee, thanks for the big primer. I appreciate it. Before you go, have some prime. Hey, thanks for the $2. 2.5 even. I appreciate it a lot. And anyway, TY for watching. See you tomorrow.